shit, set up feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. One sip, two sips, set up feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. One sip, two sips, set up feeling so alive. Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. One sip, two sips, set up feeling so alive.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Dolphin and Firefly. We're coming up on panel and co-hosting with me this morning. We've got some things lined up for you guys. Welcome in Forrest, welcome in Sejoy, and Frank, welcome in. Forrest, good to see you, friend, always. So we're waiting on documents to drop, right? And so in the meantime, I was, all the stuff about the house and this 3D model and all the things that were being said, I was like, I want to look into it. So I lined up some stuff for us to take a look at. Some video or actual news clips from way back when about what they were doing in the house, and we'll take a look at some of the technology they were using in the house. So, yes. How are you guys doing this morning?
Oh, pretty good.
Good.
Just having some sinus issues.
Mm-hmm.
That will clear up. It's horrible right now, I know. I wonder why it's like that this time of year. I guess because everything's trying to warm up, and it's trying here to warm up, and we've had a couple of good days, but you know what I mean? It's just like, I never had allergies or allergy season, so I was like, but two of my kids do, so I guess everything's getting ready to like do this thing, and what do they call it, pollinate and stuff. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, they cut down those crops a while back, but they were out there like a day or so ago, still doing something way out in the field. But this year, like when they do peanuts and then they harvest the peanuts, it's horrible, and it really affected me really bad. But the next year they'll do cotton, and the cotton didn't affect me. They did cotton this year, so next year might be peanuts, and I'm like, oh God, I hope not. I didn't know it would bother me like that until it happened, but all you could literally smell in the air was peanuts. And
that's weird.
yeah, I'm surrounded by three freaking fields where they grow crops. Yeah, so I prefer the cotton dudes. Like, I'm down with the cotton. Good morning to the lurkers. Yes, ma'am, indeed. Welcome in, everybody. Yeah, so I went and found some stuff to watch about the 3D Faro scanning, and the technology behind it even, and some early news reports from when they were, actually scanning the house. So this will all be good to take a look at, and review since, like I said, we're just waiting on documents to drop. So if we can educate ourselves about the technology instead of screaming about the technology not being any good, and take an honest look at it, it might open people's eyes. You know what I'm saying? I think people are surprised by this model and what it can accomplish, or what it's going to accomplish, right? So, because if you think about it, because you know, the FBI went back in there. We all know that after the house had been boarded up.
Right.
Everyone wanted to make a big deal about that, but the trial was pushed back. And when they went back in, it takes. So I was like, there had to be a reason, right? I mean, whatever. I'm sure it can be explained. Well, so I found this video, like how long it takes to actually build those. So when the trial got pushed back, they did go back in for that purpose and took a whole new set of scans through the FBI. And now they've set up their, yeah, Donnie, their dollhouse. So we're going to take a look at what that dollhouse can accomplish, maybe, instead of saying it's a dollhouse. I don't know. All right, let me see. Let me start with
the FBI is back.
Whoa. I found one too that I stumbled across during this about an investigator, a private investigator being there. And the news lady asked him who he worked for, and he said he wasn't hired by the what did he say? I'm going to show you guys, because I was like, what? I've never seen that, But it was kind of vague, but kind of not. And I was like, yeah. So we'll take a look at that. All right, we'll start off with, it might be in this actual clip. I can't remember. So we're going to start off with some of the news clips from Ben, and then we'll move into what that Faro can possibly do. And whoops.
The FBI is back. The king.
Whoops. Share it now this time. Okay. So this was, oh shoot, I was going to look at the date and tell you guys exactly. I'll check it in just a second. Let's see. Let's watch this.
Roadhouse, where the 4 University of Idaho students were murdered almost a year ago. All of the plywood has been taken down while law officials gather more information. This investigation comes after suspect Brian Kohberger's trial was delayed indefinitely in late August. Kohberger is accused of murdering Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in that off-campus home almost a year ago. Marissa Rio explains why the FBI wants this additional information and shows us what they're doing.
FBI is here right now, and they're using several 3D scanners. Law enforcement is basically here mapping out the house for further investigation. The FBI is working to build visual and audio exhibits, as well as a physical scaled model of the King Road house.
Did you notice that shot of how they were behind the house at the parking spot pad back there? Yeah, nice.
House. Something they weren't able to do when the original trial date was set to take place this month. Laser scanners surround the perimeter of the home so law enforcement can capture 3D digital photos. A few drones also fly above for aerial footage. According to a statement released by the University of Idaho, visual displays like these take months to build. The trial delay may give them the time they need. Part of the university's statement read, while the measurements and details needed to build a model were taken at the time of the initial investigation, the FBI is using this extended trial timeline to gather their own measurements and images now that the personal property has been removed from the premises. Moscow PD tells me that the FBI is working to produce a product that prosecutors can use in trial. Due to the gag order in place, law officials were unable to elaborate or make further comment. The university has granted the FBI access to the house both today and tomorrow. Reporting in Moscow, Marissa Rio, 4 News.
So that's pretty cool to that. Man, we knew that they went in, right? Because most of us knew that they went back in and unboarded the house.
Yeah.
But
before they tore it down, they
and
purposely went back in.
We knew back then they were doing the Faro scanning, because that's when we were all looking into it and deep diving it. So I wanted to just put some stuff together for the community to share with them. And so let's take a look at and show what the news reports from that time were. That's how I was like, I started comparing something the other night that was like a year old, like a court TV piece is what it was. I was like, I wonder how that's changed compared to today. And that got me thinking. Yeah, then my mind just goes crazy down a bunch of different rabbit holes, and I have to tell myself to calm down.
They did have some new
But
developments too
right.
in Faro scanning since they
Mm-hmm.
did the first one, because I remember seeing an
Yeah,
article.
that's right.
Yes.
Back the
Yeah, and so with the advancements that were made, as well as having more time to actually build the model the way they wanted to, and with the FBI technology got involved with it, on top of that, it's I think it's really gonna, when people can see what Faro, because Faro has a YouTube site, um, so our site should a YouTube channel, and there's also a lot of videos out there on the scanning and what it can do. So I gathered some of those for us to take a look at. Um, Before we do, let me play this real quick. No, wait a minute, that ain't it. That's not even it. I don't want to double up on. I had a couple of things that was the same. That was about the house being preserved. There's different information in each one of these about the scanning stuff, so I'll share them. Get the screen back up.
I'm
I
trying
think
to remember, what did we think that they were when they went back in the second time? Everybody had like a theory.
my theory was to do exactly what they said they were doing there, to get better scans because they had more time allotted now,
Hmm.
and they could probably, because I figured they were doing that. I was like, what makes the most sense to me? They've taken all this equipment and these Faro scannings are obviously scanning this house. They're preparing to build one badass model of this house.
Well, I thought it was like you said, they had a little bit of an update in technology, so they wanted to get the best scan they can of the house.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of another time that they
Well,
went
it
back in the
says in the
house.
news clips that the first time, here's because okay, I didn't play this one, did I?
The
Hold on.
FBI is back at the King Road house.
Yeah, that one we did, because whatever it was, one of these news clips, it says that that one just mentioned it too. Initially they did things, but yeah, when they went back, was it because of just strictly because of advancements, or were this? It said the local authorities, I guess the Idaho State Police, they had done their scans, and then when they went back in that second time, it was the FBI who went back in. So I don't know what if it was just better technology or just because the FBI was like, look, we're going to do this too. I don't know. Or it could be a combination of both. Do you think?
Yeah, it could be combination.
Yeah,
think-
I think I'm also thinking of something else.
Yeah, because they were definitely planning to do this from the beginning. Because they did it the first time around. I think I was going to fast forward past this dude. He stopped talking because he was like weirded me out. Talk about let me see. Okay. Uh-oh. Is it gonna act a fool? It's gonna act like a fool. Usually I have to take it down and go back up with it. It'll be in its spot though. I thought I had that one set past him talking. It was really weird when I was watching some of the old stuff to see how they were wrong they were when they talked about certain things. Like, it was
The FBI is back
weird.
at the King.
Okay. Get this one back up.
Welcome to the news.
Let me get
Match
past
is
it.
possibly prosecuted as far as what is pepper.
Okay.
Physical. Those investigators are, and the defense wants to know.
Okay. I fast forwarded past that dude. Did y'all hear me doing that? I wasn't on mute. I was like, oh, okay. Damn it.
Welcome to the news at
Oh,
noon.
shit.
I'm Justin
I messed it
Corlear.
all up. Sorry, y'all.
Meanwhile,
We're going to get
NBC's
past
Miguel.
him.
The doors of 1122 King Road have remained closed for months now, its windows covered in plywood after 4 students living in the Moscow, Idaho home were stabbed to death there almost 1 year ago. But this week, FBI agents are once again entering the home to get more information as the prosecution prepares for suspect Brian Kohberger's long-awaited trial. The University of Idaho says investigators asked to gather documentation in the home that will help them construct visual and audio exhibits and a physical model of the home.
One of the reasons I think that they're trying to do this is so that they can perfectly depict to the jurors where each piece of evidence was and why the placement of that evidence would be considered important.
Police say they recovered a knife sheath in the bed in which Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan were found dead on the 3rd floor of the home. Prosecutors allege that Koberger's DNA proved to be a statistical match to DNA taken from the knife sheath. Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin's bodies were found in a room on the 2nd floor of the home. One of the 2 surviving roommates was in her own bedroom on the 2nd floor around the time of the murders, when she told police she saw a man in black clothes and a mask walk past her. She says she stood in shock as the man walked toward the sliding glass door leading out of the house before locking herself in her bedroom. The victims' families fought to keep the house standing until the trial is over. In a statement Tuesday, the family of Kaylee Gonzalez and the father of Xana Kernodle said they were grateful the university paused its plans to demolish it.
It's a huge piece of evidence. It's actually the largest piece of evidence in the trial.
Now back to the DNA process that the judge will review.
Okay. So that was just another news clip that I brought to you. Welcome in, everybody. Infinity, Truth, welcome in. How are you guys? So I'm just trying to give everybody a little backstory on what, they were doing in there and what they were, regardless of why they went back in, they're taking the latest and the best technology in there each time, right? So that matters. And we're going to take a look at some of that equipment and how they use it in images of, let me make sure I didn't have, so hold on, and how it works. It's really pretty freaking cool. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, it's pretty cool. Okay. Let me pull up the other one because it's not on this playlist. I forgot. Okay, it's right here.
Maybe have another possible new clue.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I had 2 different things open for this. All right. So this is a piece from News Nation. Let me pull it up. Okay, this is a piece that News Nation did. I think Brian Enton actually is the one covering it on this one. This is from a long time ago as well.
Having deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. Investigators in Moscow now looking at new surveillance video from a business in town as they continue focusing on that white car seen near the murder scene. Senior national correspondent Brian Enton joins us live now. Brian, we found out about this new surveillance video yesterday. Are they any closer to catching this killer?
So they say today that they are making progress. They won't give us specifics, but they still say there's no known suspect. And the focus remains on the white Hyundai Elantra.
Do you know what my focus remains on every time I see a video of one of these people or newscasters standing in front of the house with to drive in the background? And I notice how well I can see the cars pass by back there. So how well a car back there driving could see. We just seen video of it, right? I've shared video of I think even JLR was driving down back there, and how well you can see that house is what I'm getting at. Because if you can look, we can see the cars passing by back there. You cruise by slowly, you got a whole view of the side of that house, the back of that house as you're passing, looking for lights, looking for movement, circling your prey. I don't know, I always notice that back there, how well you could see, how well you could pass by a bunch of times and see things.
They are still pleading with the public to come forward with any information about that car. They believe that that car was near the house where the murders happened, right around the time of the murders. We learned today that they are going through 22,000 Hyundai Elantra vehicle registrations from both Idaho and Washington. You can imagine it is a long, long process to go through all of those registrations, trying to figure out if any of them could have been connected to what happened here, Nicole.
Well, Brian, these detectives, they're really using some high-tech methods to process this crime scene.
They are, old school. You think of just photographs, but now they've got 3D imaging where they take special technology. They go into the house. It's what they did in the house behind me, which is still a crime scene, by the way. You can see the tape is still up, and they're able to map the entire house out in 3D. We wanted to learn exactly how that works.
We have a footprint right here by the door.
A murder scene typically so frenzied, so complex.
If you get them the right direction.
Clues literally everywhere.
You have some blood transfer by the window.
At this mock crime scene at Florida International University's Global Forensic and Justice Center outside Tampa, police, military, and students learn the intricacies of preserving and processing a homicide.
A large number of cartridge cases here.
They also learn about this 3D imaging that can take what would be a simple crime scene photo and replace it with this, a movable 3D model, enshrining minute details forever.
So if we're talking about LiDAR scanning of scenes, they call it 3D imaging because it gives you a 3D representation of the room.
The Forensic Center's Deputy Executive Director, Kevin Lothridge, has investigators trained with a handheld Faro brand scanner. It takes rapid laser measurements, creating an interactive 360-degree image that's even admissible in court.
It's really good for large outdoor crime scenes, good for vehicle crashes, good for shooting reconstruction. If you're trying to look at a room where people are positioned and evidence is positioned, it allows you to do a little bit more than just videotape or photography.
To be clear, this isn't just 360-degree spherical photography that you see for a real estate tour or on tourism sites. Forensic 3D imaging takes not only pictures, but countless measurements each second.
Thousands, like millions of points are taken in a point cloud.
Crime scene investigations professor Stephen Stockman says the technology can take detectives back in time, helpful when the overlooked becomes critical.
That piece of evidence that you didn't see that was significant is now in the point cloud here a year later. How far away is that from the victim's hand? And you can literally go into the software and click to the index finger of the victim to the exact piece of evidence, and you'll get the exact measurement down to the millimeter.
So more than a month later here in Moscow, Idaho, this is still a crime scene. They've still got the crime scene tape up. They've got a guard not letting anyone go in or out. So if detectives have to come back and look at something, they can go into the house and do that. But eventually when they open this back up, they will have those 3D images like what you saw there in the story. They can go back, they can analyze things inside the house, look at the specific measurements. It's all included in those 3D images, Nicole.
Yeah, such an interesting perspective there. All right, Brian, thank you.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to look up that university and see what we can pull up on what they, like what they have, the technology and what they're doing down there. My son may need to go there. Like I'm trying to tell him, go to the crime scene stuff, buddy. Go be a, he's like, Mom, stop it.
What's it? CrimeCon is getting ready to have a crime camp down in Florida, Gainesville, next month.
Yes.
In Gainesville next month?
Yes, where they take you out to the University of Gainesville, like the campus.
Yeah.
And then they take you to the woods and you learn about
I've been there a couple
excavation
times.
techniques. And,
I mean, not to that, but I've been to the hospital there, Shands Hospital and the university there, a couple times. That's where kids have to go to have certain procedures done and stuff from out of town. But anyway, that would be cool because I know how long it takes me to get to Gainesville, and it's just like 6 hours maybe.
Ooh, that's far.
Like 5 from me.
5, 6 depends on. Well, if I'm gonna go the speed limit, what was 75 on the interstate? I can get there, probably like 5 hours, 4 hours. Tallahassee's like 3 hours from me, so, and that's beyond Tallahassee, so yeah, it would take about 5 hours.
I guess I forget how big the Panhandle is.
I know that. Panhandle's long. How long would it take you to get there, Firefly, from where you're at in Florida?
Right now, I think about an hour and a half, maybe. Really close to me.
Damn. Well, shit. Now I gotta look into it.
I'm
What?
still thinking about going to it. I just haven't. I've been trying to get in touch with him to get something, a question answered. But yeah,
Oh, okay. So we got prices on everything. What is it like? How many days is it?
it is. I want to say the check-in is Sunday. It's like Sunday through Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
Right
Okay.
in the middle of March.
That would be really cool, wouldn't it?
Like 1,800 for double occupancy, or I think 2,200 for single.
Well, I may not go after all.
I know, that's the thing, the price is a
That's
lot.
kind of pricey, for what,
Mhm.
3 days? But it depends. Do we know all of our
Hotels
accommodations
included.
included? Okay.
Yeah, hotels, breakfasts,
Meals and
lunch,
all that?
transportation back and forth to the campus. You have
Okay.
lectures and then hands-on. Like in the morning, you do lectures, and then you
So
in
it's
the
all
afternoon
inclusive.
do hands-on. Yeah, except for dinners.
Yeah. Okay, so for your dinners,
Is
that's
it
cool.
March or April?
March
It's March, oh, okay.
is literally the middle of the month, I believe.
Well, if I had known about that sooner, maybe I would have saved up I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll have to look into it and see. It's pretty cool. Well, Firefly, you attended Crime Con, didn't you, when it was in Orlando last?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was good. I mean,
Yeah.
I got the lowest ticket, that was, I can't remember how much it was still several hundred, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 We got the tickets for Denver for this
for,
year.
yeah.
Well, there you go. I have not been to Crime Con yet, so if it comes back to Florida, maybe I'll get to go the next time. That would be
Mhm.
cool. We could all arrange to meet up down there and do our thing.
Yeah, this will be my
From
first
Crime
time.
Con.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So let me get my videos back up, guys. Welcome in anybody who's just joining us. Welcome in to the show here. Let me get
The
my
FBI is back. The King.
always starts up automatically. Put it. I thought I had that shit turned off. Let me make sure there wasn't anything else here that I wanted to show you guys. Now, I did when we saw in the clip, they were literally in the back of the house, in the parking lot back there with the Faro scanners, even doing the parking lot and where this suspect one vehicle possibly parked, right? And what's it seeing? All that's captured back there when they were doing that. Yeah, Ethan's mom went to Crime Con. It was the same
She
time.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was the one in Orlando, because I was at the Joseph Scott Morgan presentation, and at the end, he invited people up to the mic, and she came up, and everybody was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That
So
was heartbreaking to hear her.
Firefly got to be there for that.
It's very cool, because they have all sorts of demonstrations. I don't know.
She actually spoke about that, I think, because she was talking about it, and there was somebody else talking about families going to Crime Con, right? And what it does, it provides an outlet for them. They can form they have a community with them, and then they get to understand more about what happened, right?
Yeah.
The whys, the hows, the different things. It's a
Not
healing.
only that, but on the last day they had she joined I think it was Abby and Libby's family, and somebody else that lost loved ones. So it's like family
Yes.
members, they're joining together and just talking about the grief, and
Right. Well, the
so that's
Patties.
good for them. That's what brought them there.
Well, that Delphi and Idaho were two high-profile cases, and the Patties took a beating over the past 8 years on social media, right? And so they know how to handle it, and I think Stacy, was aware how much they had been through. So it was pretty good for them to be able to come together, right? And share, because they can share things with each other that we have no clue. We can only imagine, right?
Right. It's like the club you don't want to join, right? It's like
Exactly.
But they can help. They understand like no one else. So I think
Right. Exactly. So that's good
And
for
if
them.
they've been through a trial, they can also, give them an idea about the process too, like what to expect.
Exactly. They would learn more about it and what to expect, and they have a good support system around them, I think. It's not for what people think it's for. They're not going to show off or make bank or any of that craziness. That's not what.
Well, because there's a bookstore there, and she had her book about Ethan, the boy in blue, so people automatically jump on that and say, "Oh, she's just in it for the profit." But you know what? All that money went to his foundation, so
Yeah, and she wrote a book about him as a little boy, not like the
yeah.
happened. It was about what happened.
Right.
You know, it was her personal. How can you take that away from a mom if they have the courage to write a book for their deceased child, and then people come out and try to throw shame at you and tell you you're doing it for money? It was a healing process for her. She had to get it out, and if she wrote it down and it came out like it did, well, perfect for a book, why not? And plus, like you said, it raises money for the foundation Ethan Smile. So perfect. Good for Stacy. Good morning, Brightwell. Welcome in. Good for her. All right, let's look at some of this Pharaoh's. Let me get to that's the wrong one again. Wrong playlist. I'm not the hot mess express this morning, guys. I promise. Not too bad. Oh my God! Couldn't stop playing automatically. All right, let me scroll down here to my videos. Go away, lady. Okay.
Meantime, another possible new clue.
Damn it, man.
You still looking for a video?
No, I got it up. I just want to get to the right spot with this guy here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think this is it. This is from Duty Ron's live that he did. Let's see the date on this, actually, before we start. January 6th of 23. So 2023, they interviewed this guy, and he's from the Faro Scanning People Company. And again, don't strike me, Duty Ron. We're going to talk about this for educational purposes, and here we go. I got a banner up. So keep me safe.
On to teach with me at Louisiana State University. He's an active Boston PD crime scene investigator named Mike Connolly. In fact, funny you should bring that up, because after they had the bombing in Boston, they didn't have any scanners at that time, but we did. So we offered to come to Boston and scan their scenes for them, but the FBI took care of that. So we didn't have, we volunteered to come and do that for them, but they didn't need us. So, but with that said, Luke, why don't you tell the audience the basics of the scanner, how it's used, what it's used for, and what it can do for crime scene investigators?
And before you go into that, Luke, I want to just ask you outright, because everybody that's here and that's watching, they're interested in this King Road homicide. These 4 college students who were brutally slain on November 13th of 2022. With this technology that we're talking about, that was used at that location?
Yeah. So I'm not in that particular scene. I would imagine it was on virtually all major crime scenes now, especially in the US, 3D laser scanners are being utilized. I do know that we have many 3D scanners in the state of Idaho. I don't know the particulars of that, but I would imagine they were being used.
Yes, and the chief of police gave during the press conference, he talked about the amount of evidence that was taken, how many photographs were taken, and he also said there were 3D laser scans taken of the entire crime scene.
All right, so take it from there, Luke.
Okay, so the basics of utilizing 3D laser scanners is to, capture more data, more accurate data and more data. Those are the two biggest things. So you could set up a 3D laser scanner in any scene, whether it be an indoor scene, an outdoor scene, it could be raining or snowing or good weather, it doesn't matter, or day or night. And you can quickly and accurately document that crime scene. So for instance, I would go into a scene, and if I want to capture this scene, I would set up a 3D laser scanner on a tripod, and I would then walk out of that scene. The scanner would then spin around in a circle. It's going to be capturing GPS coordinates, and it's going to be leveling itself out. And then it's going to go around again, and it's going to capture approximately 2 million measurable points per second. And it's going to reconstruct that scene virtually into a perfect 3D model. And then it's going to go around a third time and capture high definition photographs, 68, as it goes around in 360 degrees. So essentially, for every crime scene, you could take several scans throughout it and quickly and accurately document the entire scene so that 2 years later, you could walk a jury through that scene virtually, or you could go back in as your investigation evolves. If you learn something else that might be important, you could go back into that crime scene virtually and do measurements and reanalyze.
All right. So right now you're running a scan in the background. Everybody see the scanner on a tripod behind Luke? And it's running a scan. Now he has it at a specific height, but it can only scan and measure what it sees. So if like the table blocks what's underneath the table, he can then lower the tripod from in that same position and take an additional scan, and then he can merge those scans together later on the back end software. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep, that's exactly what you want to do through a scene. You would move the scanner throughout the scene so that you don't miss any part of it. The scanner needs to be able to see it, and those laser beams leave the scanner, bounce off from every object, and come right back to that scanner.
Okay. Wow. So that's millions and millions of points of measurements. Because when we used to do crime scenes, we would have to all do a two-dimensional sketch of the crime scene, whether it was an interior crime scene or an exterior crime scene, and then take a lot of measurements using tape measures, or later on we had infrared measuring devices, and then we went to sonar. We had sonar measuring devices. We had all different types of measuring devices, and then this finally is the top of the pinnacle for documenting crime scenes.
Yeah, and I feel your pain. The days of hand measurements are over. Thank gosh.
Yeah,
I had many a nights doing that, but now at least you could walk into that scene, capture data faster and much more accurately. Instead of human error, now you're within a millimeter of accuracy on every single point.
Yeah, and you create this cloud, which people actually think the cloud is a photograph, but it's not. It's just the dense amount of measurements that were taken, and it looks like a photograph. And Luke is going to walk us through that. He's going to show us what some of these scans actually look like.
And I'm going to tell you something, Luke. Ed, because he had to do those the drawing.
So isn't this good information? And truth, that's why we're doing this. So, maybe we can get visuals out there, because some of us are visual learners and it helps a lot. So we're going to take a look at some of that technology in a few minutes, and hopefully presenting this will help people understand better. You got the 24 Ultra and don't even know how to do anything besides, girl, I got the same phone. Dolphin's got the upgrade. She just got the 25, right, Dolphin?
Yeah, it's sitting right next to me.
See, and I'm jealous, and I got to upgrade now because it's time for an upgrade, and I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? But she was telling me some of the new features. I was like, maybe I should. Yeah, I should. Girl, you got a badass little phone in your hands. You can do all kind of stuff with it. It's my little mini computer. I have to teach myself to get away from using the phone so much and use the PC. I'll edit and do all my videos, everything right there from my phone. I can do it outside, sitting in the sun. Anyway, let this continue, because it's a really good description, isn't it? Y'all enjoying it so far?
Oh yeah, this is good.
Yeah. All right. So again, Duty Ron, shout out. We're using you for educational purposes. Thank you. And adding commentary. That's important. I looked all this up earlier.
drawings and his diagrams by hand. He became an architect behind it. So
No, that was before it.
Well,
But then
Ed, you may or may not appreciate now the software actually does the overview maps for you, the diagram
exactly.
from the scan. So the days of sketching are over.
Yeah, I want you to show them all of this and how time consuming that was and how fast it is now.
now I'm fascinated, Luke, by this technology for many different reasons. As being a retired law enforcement professional detective with the NYPD, and all of my brothers and sisters across not only the United States, but the globe for that matter. Is this technology being used internationally?
It is. Yeah, we have thousands and thousands just in the US, but across the globe, we have tens of thousands of public safety professionals using 3D laser scanners to document their scenes, whether it be a crime scene, fatal crash, fatal fire, pre-incident planning to try to protect schools, things like that.
Officer involved shootings?
Yes.
Absolutely. Anything with shooting reconstruction and bloodstain pattern analysis, accident reconstruction. In fact, if you can go way back to Princess Di's tragic car accident, that was laser scan.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How well is this applied in an indoor situation where, like the King Road homicides, where it was a 6-bedroom home, but it was such a odd layout. It was a first floor, 2 bedrooms, second floor, 2 bedrooms, kitchen, living area, third floor, bedrooms. You just simply take this device or multiple devices and go to each floor and take all your imaging, and then you have it.
Yep, exactly. So multi-level buildings, multi-rooms, indoor to outdoor scanning, all that is no problem for today's current 3D laser scanners. What it does is one, it starts out with GPS coordinates. It locks in its location, where this crime scene occurred, right? But then after that, every scan thereafter, it's going to overlap with prior data that it captured. And it's going to snap together as you're doing those scans throughout that scene. So by the time you're done scanning that entire house, it's going to be a 3D model. You're going to have all that data that you need, and it's going to be highly accurate and the exact depiction of the layout of that residence.
Wow.
Highly accurate. It's going to be so cool, you know?
Definitely.
It's going to show where the victims were, the blood spattered everywhere. We're going to look at the videos that talk about that in a minute. It's going to show where the sheath was at, all kind of stuff. So
I was going to say, do you think, did they do it with the victims there, or were the victims?
I believe they did. I believe when they initially went in with the ISP, with the Idaho police, they did a scan, right? And even like the one lady's going to explain here in a little bit, they can incorporate witness statements and place them where they need to be at the right time in the right lighting. It's really crazy. So we'll look at that in just a second after we get through reviewing this guy.
Okay.
I need to stop every now and then and commentate so we can be fair use here.
Fascinating. Hey, Tara G in our chat, our chat's almost swelled to 3,000. Tara G says, I'm listening with my husband who works for the state police, and he went from laughing at me to listening to these live chats with me, and now sitting in bed listening to this because he's fully interested in this.
All right. Very good. Very good.
So,
I love it. Love
excellent.
it. So, what else?
Hold on a second, Ed. Lulu in the chat says highly accurate, but not 100%. Luke, can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I'm happy to. And this comes up all the time when I go out and meet and give demonstrations to departments and district attorneys' offices and everywhere. So the way I like to think about it is you're going to, at the end of every scan, you're going to have an error rate associated with it, right? So when you go into that Dauber hearing or that Fry hearing, it's going to be a highly accurate data that has been.
So he mentioned the Dauber and the Fry, and I was like, So I looked it up. So Faro is highly admissible. A Dauber hearing, Fry hearing is the same thing. It's to test the validity and admissibility of the witness expert you're going to be using, which also would pertain to what they were doing. And it passed the Dauber test and the Fry test. So it is admissible in court. That's why even local police stations now have the portable Faros and they can immediately start scanning a crime scene initially before the big guns get into town, you know. So we'll let him finish talking.
Been true, tried, and tested, right? And then additionally, if you think of traditional methods like hand measurements or total stations or whatever, you name it, right?
The wheel.
This is going to be far, far more accurate than traditional methods of capturing that data. So I think we're making a lot of improvements. Will it ever be, within a micrometer of it? No, right? It's going to be, right now it's within a millimeter of accuracy, which I think is really impressive.
And, and it's admissible in court too, correct?
It is.
Yeah, it's all over. It's a forensic.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's, I mean, you can't even question, accuracy to that
Exactly.
degree. Jesus.
Donnie, be safe going to vote. All right. I know. And when we get into the videos where they start explaining it outside of this one here, and they have visuals of what they can do. Oh man, I was like, wow.
Extended internationally now. Now, what we do with this is, like, before we do a scene, we set up and do a quality control test on the scanner. So we'll set up a known distance and we'll scan out to that distance, and then we'll document that, check the measurement, and then we'll do the scans inside of our crime scenes. And then at the end, we redo that scan of the quality control scan to show that there's no deviation between the first quality control scan and the last one, and that the measurements are on. But, it's going to have a tolerance. It's going to be sub-millimeter accurate.
Yeah, exactly. And we make devices, NIST certified devices that you could place in your scene. Exactly. And as long as you capture that device as a part of that scene, that is your scale bar. That's your reference.
Right. It's a pole that we put on a tripod. It has 2 target points on it. And that target point from center to center is a known measurement. And so that's how we keep things on the up and up.
Let me let the folks know here in the audience as well. At the end, last 15 minutes, we're going to take a Q&A, live Q&A, where you guys can ask us your questions. So if you have any questions related to this 3D laser scanner, the scanning technology, you hold it towards the end of the show, and we will highlight your questions. Just put in the comments, hashtag Luke or hashtag Ed or hashtag Ron, and we'll gladly answer your questions. Kim M2, thank you for the super sticker, and to anyone else that we might have missed.
All right. So Luke, why don't you walk them through a scan?
Sure. Sounds good. I'm going to start with just let me share my screen here.
And Luke is technologically advanced because he's sharing screens. He's a bad
it's a bad mamma jamma.
I had to believe it because this is a family channel.
Let's hope that it works out. So this is actually, can you guys see my screen?
I can see this. You shared your own screen. So that's.
Yeah, you got to go to the window.
Yeah, okay. I see it.
Okay.
You got to go, so present.
Yep, just give me 1 second here. I'm going to go back to present, share screen, and
window. All right, and then open it up.
And select the one that you want.
Yep, okay. Well, let me get out of these quickly because it's not populating.
Okay.
Stand by. It'll take just a minute.
So, Ed, I want to just go to you quickly, too, here. There's been some movement today at the crime scene. They were moving out some more stuff. I think we saw some mattresses and so forth being removed at the King Road homicide location. Any thoughts on that? Again, I didn't see it myself, but I saw a couple of emails coming in and people were asking me about my thoughts on it. The crime scene is to be held until February 1st and then beyond that. But just wanted to see if you had any thoughts on that, or did you see that at all?
Yeah, I would have, if the mattresses contain evidence and so forth, I would have probably had that after it was scanned, measured, and all, brought it to the lab to have it analyzed at the lab. And then, you would look to see if the mattresses had any knife damage, because we know there was horrific stabbings in here and so forth. The pillows, the bedding, the mattress.
Right.
I've done this before. I've taken, I reconstructed a shooting where the husband claimed it was postpartum depression and the wife committed suicide when in fact he murdered her, and a shot went through the mattress and into the box spring, and I took the whole bed and brought it back to the lab and did the reconstruction. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they're taking it.
Okay. Yeah, because it was a court order that I'm reading here, and it was dated I believe the 30th of December, and it states that basically the court having before it the defendant's motion is this motion by the defense for the crime scene and the evidence to be there be no objections through the courts. It's hereby ordered that the crime scene located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, including the home and outbuildings and trailers, vehicles, and such be preserved, which means that the house will be locked, crime scene tape will remain, on-site police presence is no longer required. The crime scene will remain preserved until February 1st, 2023, or until further order of the court.
Now, see, I kept saying that when they were going to tear the house down, but the defense's motion to preserve the house expired in February, and they never asked to extend that. So at that point, they were done. They'd already, because we were going to show I have a video, a news clip or whatever, where they went in and did their stuff too as well. And once Ann went in with her team and they did their thing in there, she was done with that house, you know. So yeah, they never filed a new motion to preserve after that.
It's further ordered that all samples and evidence collected or generated by the state in this matter, including but not limited to bodily fluids, tissues, notes, slides, photographs, or other relevant information, be held and preserved by the state for the defense. So this is the order coming from the defense. It's further ordered that this order shall remain in effect until further notice, and it was dated 12/30/22 at 3:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's when we saw the crime scene cleaning crew get backed out of there, even before this thing was put out. And the question came in from our audience is, if that order was put in place December 30th, why today, January 6th?
I don't even know the reason why some of that verbiage is in there, because by law you have to give these things to the defense. It's, you know, if it's evidence, it's going to the defense in discovery. But anyhow,
it's confusing. All right, Luke's got a screen up. I just wanted to visit that with you for a moment. Luke, can you just tell the audience what we're going to look at as I add it to the stream?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a crime scene that was documented with a Faro 3D laser scanner. It is a shooting that occurred in a barbershop. Male was shot within the barbershop. Yeah.
That's not too fast for you guys, is it?
No.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Chat, we good?
And the responding police department had a Faro scanner and went in and scanned the entire barbershop to reconstruct it in a 3D model.
Let's put that disclaimer out there. This is not an open case, and this is not...
Dolphin, isn't that one you and I watched in the barbershop?
Yes.
That's one he just referred to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it too. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think the three of us have seen it. It's really fucking cool.
Anything that would taint or, this is for educational purposes. You use this during the presentation as well, right?
Absolutely.
Do we have it started from the beginning, Luke?
Yep, we can. I'm going to back it up.
Let's do that and bring it right in.
There we go. Right. So this is what we call a fly-through video, right? It is a good representation or way to look at the entire scene as a whole. So this is a top-down view on the entire crime scene. So if the jury has a hard time, or the district attorney has a hard time visualizing what that scene looked like with regular traditional photos, you could play this video in court and they could see the entire scene and kind of get better spatial relations to where things occurred.
How closely can you scan in on that? Like, in other words, could you stop that and then scan in and the quality stays good?
Yeah, so in these fly-through videos, this is whatever path you choose to create it. So it could be a head height walkthrough of the facility. It could be an overhead like this. It could be whatever path you choose. Now, you cannot zoom in on this one, but in the scene to go, which is the shareable file that you create, that's where you can zoom in, zoom out, take specific measurements.
Can we pause this for a second?
Yeah, can we stop that when it gets close? Like, I'd want to see a little bit closer up, because you actually see this is a real crime scene, right? This is not a recreation, correct?
That's correct.
Right, so there's a body on the floor right there in a pool of blood. And this is an active crime scene with the barbershop. It looks like the chairs are set up. Ed, you want to maybe expand on this, or anybody?
Yeah, folks, what you're looking at here, the scanner wasn't up this high. The scanner was in that scene. Okay. The scanner has the ability with the software to, cut the roof off, the ceiling off, and give you a perspective as from flying.
Take a look at just freeze it here on the picture for a minute. They got trying to get Salty's comment count up in chat to throw her into the algorithm. Well, thank you. Yes, y'all chat away, ask questions, say, hey, stop, I want to hear that again, or something like that. And if you don't mind, everybody, please hit the like button. I got to get in the habit of saying that, because getting a lot of views, but the like button's not getting hit nearly enough, apparently. So I guess that's a big deal here on YouTube. So if you don't mind, hit the like button, please. But look at that, layout, like the victims in their exact positions as they were found. And they'll be able to put. They're gonna talk about how like having to deal with like blood spatter and things like that, and incorporating them into the crime scenes in the next videos we're gonna watch.
I don't remember the aerial view, but this is fascinating. So they'll be able to see the whole house.
Yeah.
1122 house and just like things like
We've
this.
got we've got a video to review. It's gonna show you how they can do it like a fly through, they called it,
Yeah.
with this other piece of equipment they have, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty wild.
That'll really put it into perspective how small the floors are. Like they're so close together, all the rooms.
Yeah, and here, like even they can take you down to the ground level in this model, right? And they can pick it apart too and show you the aerial. They can, because everybody's like, it's just a dollhouse. That dollhouse can come apart and show you all of this. That's crazy. People don't think that's not what it's going to look like in that King Road. Those initial scans when the bodies were still there, all their belongings were still all everywhere. You know what I mean? All that's going to be on this model that they're going to present.
In from above. So that's what you're basically looking at here. And as the actual floor plan of this barbershop or this beauty salon, whatever it is there, it's rotating through it. And you can see what you're looking at is not a photograph. Okay, you may think that's a photograph, right? Luke, is this the cloud?
This is the cloud. That's why it looks kind of granular or grainy, because it's individual measurable points, millions and millions of them.
So you get the colors and you get the surfaces and you get the 3 dimensions of the cabinets and the mirrors and the sinks and the chairs and all that. But it's not a photograph. It's just the millions and millions of measurements put together.
That this 3D laser scanner from Faro, this is what it does at crime scenes.
Right.
Now, if they were to, well, like we know, they utilize this at the King Road homicide. Jurors will be able to, without going to the medical examiner's office, to the actual crime scene, be able to view this in the courtroom, and when they do their research and do their whatever they're going to be doing to make a decision on this case, they're going to be seeing these photographs in graphic detail. Correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So if Luke wanted to, he could have taken this and then repositioned it so that it looks like somebody is walking into this location from the street right through the front door, and then walk around the counterclockwise or clockwise around the floor of this crime scene, and let you look at everything that was scanned.
Yeah. So with our current technology, you could have this model, right? All the jury members could put on VR goggles and virtually walk through the entire crime scene and analyze and inspect things by themselves.
Me too, Dolphin. I just saw her comment and I was like, me too. Me
Yeah, it
too.
would be fascinating, especially a murder case.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a couple of juries I wish I could have sat in on, like in these high profile cases. I would have loved to have been a juror in Delphi. Because I can be like, I'm like the perfect juror. Because I'm going to go in, regardless of what I've heard on social media, mainstream media, the YouTube streets, whatever you want to call it. I can still walk in there with a completely open mind, because I'm about to base everything on the evidence you present. It's going to come down to that. Which experts do I believe? Which technology do I believe? How well do you show me that this is what, but they can do, and that matters. Because a lot of times in these cases, it comes down to most of the witness type testimony are expert witnesses, right?
Yeah.
Not too many.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, right?
Yeah.
It would be fascinating, but I don't know if I'd want to be on one of these 8-week long trials. That's a little excessive.
Well, it wouldn't bother me as long as they gave me a hotel room. Well, they take my phone and stuff, and then I'll get bored. Like, what do you do then?
Yeah, what do you do about like attention span?
They like
actually, well, see, I don't have a problem with that, but actually, Firefly, I mean, if you'd sit around and watch like Karen Reed trial or something like that at home, it's like, yeah,
yeah, but I do that. Like
I think they were providing movies,
so it's not like I'm like focused completely on the trial. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I feel like
I'd be going over my notes. I'd be taking so many notes. At the end of the night, I'd be reviewing my notes, like privately or whatever, getting my thoughts together and processing what I've heard. But I think they supply like movies and stuff, and they do little outings and take them to dinner and things of that nature. So I could probably do it. Yeah.
I've gotten a few jury summonses, but usually, you call like the Sunday before, and then they say, "No, we don't need you." So I've never gotten.
Well, damn, we don't need me.
No
Shoot.
need. Yep.
Yeah, but I think I would. I think I could walk into each and even this trial. I could walk in after everything I know and have seen and heard. I could still walk in there with an open mind.
Yeah, because I definitely would just be like, "Yep, show me what you got."
Yep, it's time to play ball. Let's play, right? Um, prove your case, as they say. It's up to the prosecution to prove their case, not him to prove he's innocent. Yeah, I know. So get busy. You know. Welcome in 12 gauge. Hunting channel would pacify me. Yeah, my dad was right there. It's right there with you, dude. I'd probably watch that before I would some of their movies. Depends on the movie, right? I'd rather sit there and watch some dudes hunt in the woods. Remind me of my daddy. All right, let's let this guy play a few more minutes, and then we'll get to the other videos from the Faro people.
Oh, that is unbelievable. We've come. Someone said in the chat, we've come a long way. I didn't even know that. So that.
Yeah, truth. They talk about that in the beginning. All the furniture and all the things were all still in place on the initial scans, but when they went back in, it was completely empty, and all the stuff had been moved out at that point. So yeah, and they got really specific measurements with all that, and so there was a lot of reasons for going back in there when they did. Better imagery, better measurements, better everything, and then you go combine that with what you first they're going to show you how they do that, how they all comes together. So I think we've probably heard enough of this, dude. Let me see.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And one more thing I'd like to add too, in our Faro Zone, you mentioned animation, right? You could walk through there, right? Well, now in Faro Zone, you can literally animate or create an animation to show the person, the perpetrator here, the suspect, enter the way that they entered and fire those shots with trajectory paths to strike that individual.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to show somebody walking in the back slider and up the stairs?
Jesus.
Just thinking about that, because will they show like the path down, from the back parking area?
Well, but see, the
like
difference is
potential...
he said they're using trajectory to ascertain what this person would have been. So since he used a knife, there's no way we don't know how he entered the home. So I don't know if they would get away with that. But plus the defense would be like, no, you can't put that in there. You can't say murder. You can't say have the victims.
But I noticed on the barbershop when they showed the front entrance in the snow. So I'm imagining that's like egret. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
They have, I don't know.
But if they can put a perpetrator who fired a shot based on the trajectory into the scene and show you his movement path, I don't know if they could do it with a guy with a knife. I don't know. But I feel like the defense would be like, hell no, you're not putting that part in there. That's bias, right?
It's amazing.
And if you go back to that, if you could put that up again. So say you had over in the right-hand corner that there was a witness there, and the witness was hiding in between those two chairs and the table and what looks like a maroon brownish chair, and the witness was maybe a woman and she was squatting down. You can put you can take the Faro scan and then say, okay, and go into that corner and get the height of the woman's eyes from what her position would have been if she was kneeling, and show everybody what the woman could have seen from her perspective from that point.
Okay.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
That's pretty cool. So we can be in DM's doorway and see her perspective.
Exactly. And you can even mimic the lighting. So if only thing on was the neon light, if that was the only thing on was the neon's good vibe sign.
I bet they will do that. Or maybe
yes, Mr. Steed did it in his basement. So
that's right. Yeah. That's right.
Right. So
that was awesome. His
I know. I tried to find that video the other day, and I don't know if I was just missing it or I need to email him and specifically can you send me the link to that one, because I want to present that to show everybody what Mr. Steed did do, so we can see what he's capable of doing in the basement with the lighting and all. I mean, he had that lighting down to a science. So yeah. Dr. Firefly, very interesting that you brought that up, because we all want to see what DM could and couldn't see, right? And they talk about how they can place based on eyewitness statements, they can place her right where she was standing inside that home. So,
point.
Yep, we do that every day. So it's called witness perspective. So say you scan and document any scene. You have a car versus pedestrian fatal crash, and you have a witness that said, I saw this vehicle driving down the street, strike the pedestrian in this crosswalk. You want to figure out if they're credible, if they saw exactly what they saw. Well, if you scan that scene, you have these millions and millions of measurable data points to recreate the scene within a millimeter of accuracy, and you can literally place that person back in that scene in the exact position that they were in, and you could see if they actually saw what they did to corroborate their statement.
Right. So you're validating, or you're saying, oh, that's a lie. So, exactly. Hey, folks, I wanted to bring this up real quick. I saw this here from Lulu. Parkland shooting case, could have just used this right. Since you brought it up, one of the things that Luke does is he scans schools for school security purposes. Luke, why don't you tell them a little about that?
Yeah, this is a really exciting time, I think, for preventative efforts to protect our most vulnerable kids, right? So Faro has become entrenched in pre-incident planning and trying to prevent bad things from happening before they have to break out a 3D scanner for a mass casualty shooting or for a homicide or whatever. So now we're taking 3D laser scanners, we're mapping out schools or scanning schools, and we're recreating them. And then we're creating deliverables, meaning that we're creating a file, an easily accessible file for first responders to have immediate access to if they have to respond for a critical incident in their cruisers in the moment while they're en route. It's incredible to see the progress we made, and I'm excited for the future.
So what I'm showing is the Faro website. I'm going to link that down below in the description. But for those of you who are interested in this technology, and a lot of this does pertain to police across the country or police across the world, but it also could pertain to a lot of different industries. It's not just for police. I see this.
Okay, so that was a pretty good presentation, I thought, of what they, some of the technology behind it and what it can do. Oops, let me get this back down.
Hey, Salty, do you know if Steve, or the guy that did that experiment, is he still making videos? I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen him alive in a while, but he is still around. I know that they had moved from Georgia to Florida because that's where the children and the grandbabies were at, and they're all settled in. But he is working. He still actively works cold cases, and they have their foundation and their website. So he does do a lot of traveling still for different cases. So I don't know. We'll have to check in on him. I'm going to send him an email anyway because he told me a long time ago that he would be glad. He gave me permission to use whatever videos I wanted because he just wanted to educate the public, right? And he agreed to be a guest. So maybe we can set that up, where we can get him and the video and he can explain to us.
Oh, that would be nice.
Right? That would be great. So I will shoot Mr. Steve an email here this afternoon and see if I can't set that up, if he's not too busy, or see what's going on. So, yeah, because it's a great video that he did. Okay, so
let's have another possible.
Okay, every time. Okay, this guy is Ken Jones, Faro 3D scanning. Okay, share, make you bigger, dude. Okay, so again, we're using this for educational purposes, and we're adding our commentary as we go. This is pretty cool stuff, guys, because I'm just we wanted to present it to give everybody a good showing of what this stuff is really capable of, because we're hearing negative things about it, but it's 2025, it's welcome to the future, right? And when before the house was destroyed, it wasn't even safe to enter anymore, especially for jurors. And I heard last night Drunk Turkey misspoke over on No Shame. None of that's not what I'm doing. I want to clarify something. They were talking about going to the crime scenes, but he said he thought that they took the Delphi jurors out to the crime scene. They did not. because it's like typically only do it in open air situations and not buildings or whatever. And I was like, okay.
They did it in the Murdaugh trial. They took them.
Yeah, the Murdaugh they did, but Delphi, they said no. They said it was too dangerous for the jurors to go there, even though there's a driveway right there and you can park and get. Never mind. Anyway,
can you even go over that bridge anymore? I think they didn't.
You can get there. They could have gotten there down the private drive that runs right under the bridge, stopped, got out, and seen the exact locations of where they say everything was going down. But they said it was too dangerous to drive down that road and do that. But I don't even want to get started on that rant. But Delphi jurors did not visit the crime scene. So, that was stated last night that that's what he thought. And I'm like, no, that didn't happen. But, there's the technology they use today. And we know that they used Faro scanning on Maddie's site where she was found. That way, when they go to court, they can take the jurors right there where Maddie was found without having to take them out there.
You mean Madeline Soto?
Madeline. What did I say?
You said Maddie. I mean, I know people call her Maddie too, but since we have Madison Mogan, Maddie Mogan.
True.
Or whatever.
I've been trying. Yeah, I try to do that. You're right. I do try to
clarify who you were talking about.
Yeah, thank you for that. It was Madeline Soto. Exactly. They were used to scan where she was found. So I can only imagine they're going to use that in court, right, to show. And they probably Faro scanned even over there where he was parked to change his tire and show the relation and but where she was found. All of that would be great. All right, this guy, will let him present for us. Oh, stop. Can't. All right, here we go. We'll play this for a second. I'm going to run grab a fresh coffee while he starts.
I'm a former investigator, criminalist from the Portland Police Bureau. For the last 20 years of my work at the police bureau, I was doing forensic work, and I got to see multiple crime scenes of different types. Homicides, arsons, officer-involved shootings, a full gamut of different crime scenes that I've investigated and worked. Primarily as a criminalist in Portland, latent fingerprint examiner, CSI work, collection of evidence, expanded into trajectory, external documentation. I got to experience a change in technology that occurred from standard photography, introduction of video, but it always seemed a bit incomplete. Like you couldn't capture every angle, you weren't limited in time, limited in ability to be in a certain position, even to put the camera there. So when I got introduced to 3D point clouds and I saw that technology, it's like, that is really cool that you could view a crime scene from any angle. You could go back to it. It wasn't limited to the time while you were in scene to appreciate the three-dimensional space, because you can see the distance relationship, what might have interfered to give its position. And that movement is part of what makes it so valuable to the end viewer versus 300 photographs that you have to sift through. Rapidly, you're able to get a positional awareness. When an analysis is done, we want to ensure that the documentation, this one opportunity you have to capture that scene, is done right. Many people will take pictures, but from those pictures you can't derive what was the distance that shooter potentially fired that round from the subject that got struck. How many shooters were there? What was the positional relationship potentially of the victim when he got struck to the shooter's position? Was this an assassination attempt? Was this a passion crime of anger, rounds just being fired, menacing gone bad? All these account into sentencing, so that it can be very important throughout this entire investigative process. It goes from the CSI collecting the evidence, the investigative team evaluating that evidence, visualizing it. You then end up with the prosecutorial team taking it on. The defense counsel now has access to this digital twin. It has huge value that standard photography, video recording through the 1990s, we moved into the 2000s, that people were like, those were good, but they were just a little incomplete. You realize that you have that one shot to get it right. But when you hear testimony, you hear oral testimony from these witnesses, victims, suspects, you can now filter their statements through that point cloud. And as an investigative team, and ultimately the trier of fact, a jury, a judge, can now say, this person's not lying. They may not have all the facts. They have a partial truth, but what they said makes sense. Now, when I combine it with another person's testimony, that's going to be added to it. So multiple people doing their testimony can now be filtered through that point cloud, that 3D storytelling tool that I really advocate for. I'm a passionate person about that because having been in that hot seat in a grand jury room, I want to give officers or victims, community members, the ability to utilize that tool to tell their story. You know, technology has advanced, and whenever you're going to be deploying this technology, I really am looking forward to something that's going to work all the time and easy to operate. Single button push, not overly complex to set up. Anybody can grab it, from a patrol officer to the criminalist to a detective, can check it out and go capture a scene. And the ability for it to be used differently than just a standard tripod, mounting it maybe in the ceiling to capture a very complex scene where you have to lift clothing off to find things buried underneath, like an archaeological dig. Equipment that the criminalists are going to want to be using this day and age. We want that to be an intelligent piece of equipment that reduces on-scene time, that's thinking for itself. Technology like Viz, this is where the cameras in the scanners track its location without human input. It just knows where the scan was captured from. And that allows us to link the data together without human interaction. Now, we can fix it, change it, and alter it with programs on a tablet. We can see it and share it. This speeds up that entire capturing and actually has been revolutionary in the forensic deployment of 3D scanning. Now, all of these technology that we get has to be boiled into a program that's very simple to use, like Register 360, drag and drop functionality of data into it, automations of registrations, register all the data, pull it together into one big model space that's then shared, and view the analysis that's done by your experts, your team that have been working off the single truth, the digital twin of that crime scene. So you want to basically capture that and share that on scene. So it's a wonderful thing, like having Cyclone Field 360, where you have an iPad or a phone, and you can actually take your initial scans and on scene, take it into the command post and share that with the investigative team. So the criminalist side of it can still continue working with that scanner. It's freed up. And the investigative team now has access to that scene where normally they would be waiting for the investigators to be finishing it up for the initial documentation phase. These new technologies that are out there are
Sorry, we got more to watch. Thank you guys. So yeah, y'all chat away or use some of your emojis, whatever it takes. Get this straight, not for me personally, but get it out there people can see. You know, there's not a lot of people talking about what this can do. Instead, they're discounting what it can do. And I thought, well, maybe we can just present the actual side of it, you know, and see for ourselves, and educate ourselves, you know, on the technology and what it can do. So yeah, guys, please hit the like button, share it out, all that good stuff. Spam, I guess, the comments with your little, can y'all use the emojis, everybody? Do y'all have access to them and can use them? Get down, cat. I've made a few, so. All right, let me get the playlist back up. Okay, this is a sheriff who has a YouTube channel, and he talks about all this stuff, and I found him when I was researching. So let's play this one. If you guys have any questions or comments, you know, you throw them in the chat, and we'll try to talk about it and answer them and see what we all. So what do you guys think so far? I can't do a poll from back here, so let me know in the chat what you guys think so far about this technology. Think it's going to be a good thing, or no, they screwed up and it's not going to be good? Yes or no?
Call my Marcino. When it comes to forensics, the smallest piece of evidence really can make the biggest difference. That's why our forensics division uses cutting-edge technology to preserve every inch of our crime scenes in an interactive 3D model.
Faro scanner is basically just a tool that we use on crime scenes. It's for measurements and documentation purposes, and it's used for demonstratives in court. Basically what it does is collects measurements and data for any scene that we're scanning. We can pivot through. You can get up underneath the cabinets. You can see in the sink. You can pretty much go anywhere you want within the actual scene. We will collect the data on scene and then bring it back to the office and create a 3D demonstration of the scene that we scanned. The way the scanner works is it emits a laser. That laser bounces off the mirror that spins in the center of the scanner. That laser bounces off of objects and back to the scanner. It can't see through anything. So we move the scanner to see past other objects. So we'll move it through doorways, into other rooms, so that it captures the entire scene. It has the ability to scan in complete darkness, and that would be something that would be in black and white. But if there is a little bit of light, we are able to capture the color. Being able to have a 3D representation of the scene and be able to show people, either detectives that didn't get a chance to come on scene, the state attorney's office, or even defense attorneys, it just gives them a much better idea of how the scene looked and how everything was laid out and where evidence was within the scene. Shots were fired from inside. They then came outside and exited the wall. So what we did, we placed targets on the one side of the trajectory rod and then a target on the other side of the trajectory rod. And you're able to see where the shots came from in this particular scene. And those are represented by the orange lines within the scans. And the scanner does have a built-in inclinometer and a built-in GPS, so it knows where it's at in time and space and in elevation. The scanning itself does take a very long time. If we're doing a higher definition scan, it can take around 20 minutes. Lower quality scans are going to be 7 to 8 minute scans. Typically on your average scene, we will probably do between 20 to 30 scans. So it's not a big time saver, but the accuracy of the data that we're collecting is much better. The field of forensics is always changing. We're always trying to keep up with the latest and the greatest. The Lee County Sheriff's Office definitely is on the forefront of that, and we definitely got a head start with our training and our experience with the Faro scanner. So it's been a great tool for us to have, and it's definitely going to be the future of forensics.
From documenting crime scenes to retracing.
She's got her a badass job. I like that. So that was just a little more information that I wanted to share, because I tried to find good things to share that could explain, things way better than I can explain them, because I didn't know exactly how it worked, how accurate it was, and what all they can do. I now want to show. Yeah, it's just exactly the house being torn down. They knew they were going to tear it down all along. We've got to remember too how safe, because the house they detected, what was it? They found asbestos in it or whatever when they were in there, but they also cut portions of the floor out. They had cut portions of the wall out. We even see that proof of that in one of the photos from Maddie's bedroom, Maddie Mogan's bedroom, where there is a cutout in the wall. So, with the floors, portions of the floors being cut out, portions of walls being cut out, it was already, a wacky thing. So I don't know. I think the scans are going to be amazing. Especially now that I know they're doing the back of the house too. Yep. Cover all your bases, get it all. People can't say that. Okay. Let me. Okay, this is what they call is a device that can fly through what they've already created. So I thought it was pretty cool. So we'll take a look at that. It's just a little quick video, no talking in it. Isn't that cool? Like I've become so like obsessed with
Hi, I'm Lee
this.
County Sheriff. Call.
I'm sorry. Like when I was just starting to look into it yesterday. I was cleaning and doing things, and in the meantime, I was looking up videos and trying to review things. So, what are your thoughts so far, guys?
I think not having the house is not an issue. Really, after looking at these things and the quality.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. I think people are going to be blown away by what they see, especially as far as we know, this will be televised, and that thing we already saw the diagram where it's going to be on movable wheel, a table that can be moved around. So I think I think the public's going to be blown away about what they can do with that technology. All right, let me get the next video pulled up, guys. So Dolphin, are you with us? Because she must have had to step out for a minute. Let me know in chat, guys. You still think this technology is going to be good enough? Okay. All right. This piece is a news clip from Creme 2 News there in Idaho. Oh, you're good, Dolphin. You're good. I figured you had to step away for a moment. So anyway, this is a news clip from Creme 2. Like I said, oh, I didn't look at the damn date again. All right, here we go.
Tonight, FBI investigators wrap up the first of 2 days they're spending at the Moscow home where 4 University of Idaho students were killed nearly a year ago. They're on site today and tomorrow to collect visual and audio data that'll help construct a model of the home. Crime 2's chief journalist Amanda Rowley joining us now live from Moscow tonight, where the FBI has just left for the evening.
Well, since the trial for the Moscow murder suspect has been delayed indefinitely, the FBI is taking advantage of this.
Wait, is this one I played earlier? Anybody remember? It just dawned on me. I can't recall if I played this one earlier. I may have had it on both playlists. Let's see. Let me know if y'all have seen this.
I don't remember this one.
Okay, cool. If we didn't, well, we're doing it again.
Yeah, anyway.
Extended time to gather measurements of their own of the home to construct a model. Now, throughout the day, we saw crews gathering images coming in and out of the home and even bringing out what's left over as far as personal belongings and moving them outside. The home where Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves were killed 1 year ago still stands. Today, the plywood securing the windows and door of the house has been removed, and a specialized team with the FBI are on site collecting measurements and images. They launched a drone over the house this morning and appeared to be collecting images using 3D scanning technology. This will all be used to construct a model of the home. We won't learn much more about what the FBI is doing because it's still an ongoing investigation. So I asked Idaho's former state attorney general and county prosecutor, David Leroy, what he makes of this collection of evidence.
In this instance, it appears that the prosecutor is going to put some significant emphasis by virtue of a model and videos in terms of helping the jury understand how an alleged perpetrator might have moved through the house to get in, to go to whatever is alleged to be the first crime scene, to pass then to the second crime scene.
We noticed investigators are using Faro 3D laser scanners.
So again, I wonder, are they going to show an image of a figure coming in that back door and slipping up to the 3rd floor straight to Maddie's room?
Yeah, probably, because, some people have already, put together some stuff like that,
Yeah.
like on YouTube, they have like presentations of, the guy went here, then he went up
Yeah.
here, and you see the figure walking up the stairs. So yeah, they probably will.
That's going to be crazy, wouldn't it? Oh, man. Okay.
The company's website says this technology can be used by law enforcement and prosecutors to reconstruct a crime scene and present it in the courtroom.
This is the diagram of today's courtroom. Everything you see here is measurable.
A demonstration video from Faro's website shows a few different ways to present the images, including a flyover view or virtual view of the scene.
But most importantly, you can create a specific viewpoint. What did that first responder see? What did that witness see? Or what could the witness maybe not see?
What could the first responders see? What could the witness see or not see, right? They're gonna put Dylan at that bedroom door. And they're gonna recreate the lighting from that light. Unless she said the living room light was on the whole time. Is that how she noticed the bushy eyebrows? You know, like, we got to get Mr. Steve's video. So anyway, yeah, they're gonna be able to place all of that stuff
from that perspective.
It's not clear what version will be used in this case, but Faro's demonstration does give some insight into the possibilities.
Now, in the meantime, the house will be re-secured once the FBI is done here as early as tomorrow. Now, the university says it still intends to demolish the home, but it does not plan to do that this semester. Reporting in Moscow, Amanda Rowley.
I just found that piece interesting too. You know, the more because when I went back and started looking at it, I knew that there was news reports out about it way back when it was occurring. So I had to go grab a couple of those for us to see. Yeah, it hasn't made it to trial yet, not till August. Not till August. And I don't know if the judge is going to let them push it back any further because they have a pretty good schedule laid out for hearings that they may need to add in. Which, Dolphin, have you been checking the case summary?
I just refreshed it.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. I just checked a few minutes ago. Nothing. Hey, Salty, look in the back chat. I think I found the one you're talking about. Check it out and see if that's the one you were looking at for Mr. Steve. True Crime Web.
Yeah, hold on. It's not going to let me present back here for some damn reason. Hold on.
Let me click on it.
Hold on, let me get myself back into stream or restream. It's got me all crazy right now. Oh, if I throw myself out, I'll come back. Wait, hang on. There we go. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, there we go. Let me pull up so let me see who's modding. Firefly, can you drop Mr. Steve's channel into the chat, please? God, this is Mr. Steve from True Crime Web that we're going to present. One of you guys, Firefly, are you going to present it for us? Can you share screen?
If she can, I can.
Okay, I was going to say, is there anybody out there? Just not if you can hear me.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sure if I can.
I got it.
Dolphin's got it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so this is Mr. Steve from True Crime Web. He is a retired law enforcement officer. He does a lot of testing. He buried bullets in the Delphi investigation because there was an unspent round found that they tied to Richard Allen's gun, allegedly. Do I have an echo? Can you guys... Is it just me, or do I sound okay to you guys? Okay.
You sound fine to me.
Okay. So I think that was just my headsets. All right. So anyway, so he recreates things like with the bullets, to see corrosion, dirt buried on them, and different things. You have to, So he did the same thing with Idaho 4 to see what Dylan could possibly have seen. So we're about to present that for you guys now. And like I said, Mr. Steve had given us permission earlier to view this, and it's just for educational purposes only. It's not rocket. It's not like this is a super scientific deal, but for doing this stuff in your basement, oh my God, it was good. Okay, so go ahead. Where's your screen at, Dolphin? Let me see. I don't see it yet. There it is. If I slide down. All right, we'll get that up there. All right. Go ahead. Okay, so we're going to let this play for you guys. Check it out.
Is it sharing?
It is sharing. We are good to go. You guys let us know
This
in
is
the
a
chat.
recreation of me moving the mannequin on the trolley, bringing him towards the opening. And I'll repeat this in full light so that you can see as he would approach what he would look like in a well-lit area from. Now, this is position 1. This is where the camera is set up in position 1, and in the low light conditions. And you can see the silhouette. And I moved the mannequin back in stages to try to get where you can identify at what point you can see the reflection of the face. And it's pretty well somewhere right here is where most of the facial is able to be seen. And whenever you're at home, if you turn off your lights and things, let your eyes adjust, you'll see a little bit more. But this is a recreation of me moving the mannequin on the trolley, bringing him towards the opening. And I'll repeat this in full light so that you can see as he would approach what he would look like in a well-lit area from. Now, this is position 1. This is where the camera is set up in position 1, and in the low light conditions. And you can see the silhouette. And I moved the mannequin back in stages to try to get where you can identify at what point you can see the reflection of the face. And it's pretty well somewhere right here is where most of the facial is able to be seen. And whenever you're at home, if you turn off your lights and things, let your eyes adjust, you'll see a little bit more. But
Okay, that's it.
I think there's a longer version maybe, but that gives you the basic idea.
Yeah, that one was only a minute.
Oh shit! I was not. I thought I was unmuted, and I was just talking away to you guys. Yeah. So that you're right. It gives you the gist of what we were talking about. But I will reach out to Mr. Steve about getting the link to the full video and seeing if he's interested in coming on and talking to us about it and explaining it in real time to us as to what he was doing. Just maybe it's just to give people insight as to what she may have seen and not seen. Right. That's as simple as that. Some comments. Yes, Texas. That would have been the view from Dylan's bedroom, the witness. That's where he was doing it from, because everybody's like, what could she have seen? How did she see bushy eyebrows? Blah blah blah. So he decided to do that, and he did it with the good lighting and with just the lighting from the neon sign. And he even explains to you how he came up with the formula to recreate the lighting from the good vibes sign, which I thought was really good, really smart. Instead of just saying, this is what it was. So he explains all the details of it. So I think having him on to do it in real time would be an amazing show. Yeah, Dylan. Well, according to the newest statements from Dylan, didn't she state, guys, that he looked at her? That's how she noticed the bushy eyebrows. But that's what that's what it says. She believed he looked at her, but was he so stressed out at that point and visual snow kicked in and he didn't see her? I don't know.
I just think it was dark in the hallway where she was, and the light from the
see her
sign.
right?
I don't think he could see her. No.
Yeah, he was blinded by the light. Walking past this neon light. Plus, he's focused on getting the hell out of there because things just got sideways real fast, in my opinion. Let me throw up a banner. I got to switch. I got to switch.
Speculation only.
Opinions and theories will be discussed. It's all good.
But personally, if I was a juror, I would rather see the virtual reality version than go in the actual house where, all the blood and everything was. I mean, that's just me, but I think it's going to be perfectly adequate.
Yeah, I think it will be too. There's so welcome in, Jack. The person going upstairs that Dylan thought was Kaylee was likely the perpetrator. Well, they said about 4 she heard Kaylee. Now, that's estimated time, I'm assuming. But around 4 is when she thought she heard Kaylee saying someone's here, which would coincide with the 4 a.m. DoorDash delivery. If you look at the Linda Lane footage, that white sedan doesn't park until at least 4:09. So, because I was thinking about that myself, people are like, how can she? Because the defense said it couldn't have been the victim because the victim was already deceased. Not if it was 4 a.m.
True.
And so that tells me and Dolphin that Kaylee may not have been fully asleep in her room. This is our theory. Maybe Kaylee wasn't fully asleep because 9 minutes later, an intruder's in the house. And I say 4:09 because I base that on the fact that the car lights go out at 4:08 on Linda Lane, and that sedan parks. Give them a minute to get into the house, a minute to get up to Maddie's room. That's how I thought it started. You have to timeline it and think about it if I'm to believe Linda Lane footage, and it lines up, with everything else. And so I think people, so that's my theory. I don't know.
I wouldn't even say a minute to get up to the room. That house was not big at all.
No, not at all.
If you knew where
Like
you
a
were
few,
going,
steps. I mean, think about it. You're walking in from the side, or you go through the kitchen. The first thing you basically walk into a wall, because you have to turn right to go up those stairs or left to go in that hall towards the living room.
yeah.
So you don't have a whole bunch of options. If he knew he wanted to go upstairs, it's like, oh, few steps in, and oh, here are the stairs. Let me go up the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah. Inside looking, Jack. Yeah, it's there's a lot of things, that there's a lot of probable cause in this case. There always has been, and it's just this house, and the movements of this person and what they possibly got in there, like 4:08, going in there. Would it take them? How long did it take to slip upstairs to the 3rd floor? That doesn't take long, because then. So if Xana's TikTok was open at 4:12, was she in her room on TikTok, laid the phone down and walked toward the kitchen? And that's when she ran into somebody who just came down the stairs, right? From the perpetrator. And based on that, if you're upstairs by 8, 9, 3 minutes later, are you downstairs already? Like that. I was thinking about that. What is significant about the 4:12 TikTok, right? When did she open that app? Because if she opened it at 4:12, she was alive at 4:12. So I feel like piece together. Like that's what I'm thinking. Time.
I mean, yeah, honestly, with the TikTok, right? So here's the
Right.
thing. They just mentioned the one reference point, right? But it's like you're
Yeah.
on TikTok, you're constantly scrolling videos and changing videos or whatever,
Yeah.
clips. So they would know that. You know what I mean? So if she
Right.
was on, yeah,
They would
like
know whether it
412.
was like idle, basically,
Right.
versus active.
Right.
Exactly.
They would know
That's
the last time she, switched to a different clip, or
right.
whatever. And
The
yeah.
last time she was active was
Mm-hmm.
4:12. That makes sense. Yeah. And Firefly, remember when we did that walkthrough and we pretended to go in at 4:08, 4:09 through the back door, and we gave ourselves like a minute to get up the stairs, and you and I and Danger did it. And we stood there a minute and gave ourselves time to do things we didn't want to be up there doing, but we were pretending to do it.
Right.
And when we came down those
Excuse me.
so we came down from the 3rd floor and we landed right in front of Dylan's door, and I said, hold on, what time is it now? And Firefly says 4:12.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, TikTok. Like,
Yep.
it was like perfect time. It gave me chills when
Mm-hmm.
I realized the time that we pretended to give ourselves, and then we got to the bottom of the stairs right in front of Dylan's door, and boom, tick-tock, 412. I was like, wow, holy shit.
Yeah, I think what I guess causes people to question this a lot, like the amount of time, is because they're just listening to, like say a single digit, oh, a minute for this, 9 minutes or whatever. What was the overall estimate that they thought? Was
They
it?
got it down to at least,
15 minutes or something.
he entered that house probably by 409 at the latest,
Hmm.
in my opinion, based on Linda Lane footage from that car goes back behind the building and parks.
Hmm.
So taking that into account, and then this PCA stating the car leaves at 420 at a high rate of speed, so 409 to 420.
Okay, so 11 minutes, right?
11 minutes.
So instead of thinking about it in like, such small digits like that, 1 minute has 60 seconds, right? 11 minutes is 660 seconds. I mean, like, if people really want to get a concept of movement, your natural movement around like your house or whatever, get a stopwatch. I'm in the office right now, which is like halfway in the middle of the house. Like, how many seconds would it take me to walk, like,
Yeah.
a few rooms over, to the kitchen?
Yeah.
Like,
It,
that's like literally probably like, 5 seconds,
it doesn't
you know?
sound like a lot when you say 10, 12 minutes, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a long time. If you sit there
Yeah.
and time something and
Mm-hmm.
walk through the house, like you said, yeah, it's a lot of time. It's plenty of time.
Yes, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. was the estimated DoorDash delivery truth, and in the recent statements that we read, um, for that Dylan was made in the new documents, it was around 4 a.m. when she thought she heard Kaylee. So, well, actually, the new statement says she saw one of the roommates run up, or what was it? She ran down the stairs and then back up the stairs, or came downstairs and said someone's here, which would coincide with the 4 a.m. DoorDash. So, to Kaylee up in her room, she has a window that faces the front of the house. She knows a car pulls in. She runs down to the kitchen area. Yeah, someone's here. And then she runs back up with Murphy. Dylan heard that. That's basically what her statement says. And so that was around 4 a.m. according to Dylan. So that coincides with the DoorDash thing. Unnamed DoorDash. We don't know if the DoorDash guy had a dash cam. I was a DoorDash driver. I did not have a dash cam. I didn't know. But so yeah, we're just piecing together based on what we do know, a timeline. So if the new timeline for Dylan seeing that roommate and hearing someone's here, which they originally said in the PCA that Dylan said it was Kaylee, but they said it could have been Kronodal who was awake on her phone. I think Dylan was right the whole time. It was Kaylee. Runs downstairs, yells, someone's here. Her and Murphy go back upstairs. That puts Kaylee, if she went back to her room, maybe not fully asleep by 409, but maybe Maddie was already passed out. We saw Maddie's condition. She had indulged that night and had herself a good time. So once they ate and got up there and called
And
Jack
made
to let
those
her
calls,
sleep.
yep.
And Jack's like, I'm done with you for tonight, Kaylee. I'm not arguing no more. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm done not answering. Boom. End of story. So Maddie passes out. Kaylee goes on to her room with the dog. And maybe she's not fully asleep, but Maddie is, and this perpetrator comes in at 409, slips into Maddie's room undetected. But at some point, Kaylee and that dog are alerted. Kaylee gets up to go investigate and runs into something she never expected she'd find.
Yeah, and also when they said, approximately 4 or around 4, that also could be 357,
Exactly.
355
And when
or
they
whatever. It could be on the other side of 4.
and they're going to know because they've already they've already did the warrants on the DoorDash. And so as a driver, I can tell you they're going to know exactly what time that driver confirmed the drop off, because you can't even get paid out or go any further until you confirm the drop off. And so it's going to timestamp when you do that, right? So they know exactly what time that DoorDash delivery was delivered. And you got to remember, 1112 camera should see the DoorDash car coming in. It sees the white sedan coming in. It's going to see the DoorDash car come in as well. So that timestamps what time that DoorDash driver came. So that's going to come out, right? So exactly what time did that occur is going to be crucial, I think, don't you? Because so Xana gets it a little earlier than we thought. Different things could come into play. Because we always wondered, did he pass the DoorDash driver at some point? Because we know they say at 4:04, he came in for his fourth pass. So he came in a couple of passes before the 4 a.m. mark or 4:04 mark. So did he pass the DoorDash driver? We always wondered at some point, not
I
realizing.
mean, yeah, but for me, the DoorDash driver establishes that at this time, if the DoorDash driver delivers the food personally or left it at the door, if the food made it into the house,
Oh,
that
yeah.
means everybody is still alive, at that point.
Yep,
And that's
exactly.
kind of like a starting point. So you're like,
It,
okay,
hmm
everyone was still alive before this. Now we just have to move forward to narrow it down.
Yeah. Well, we know that at least Xana and Ethan were alive at the DoorDash time drop off. And we know Kaylee probably was, if we believe Dylan, that was Kaylee coming up and down the stairs. But was Maddie, was she already good enough asleep, or she was asleep? By the time 409 came, she was probably good and asleep. Because I don't think Maddie had any time to react. From what we've heard, and I'm going to say that's based off what we've heard from the parents speaking about their children's wounds. I don't think they would come out and lie about that or exaggerate about it. I don't feel they would do that. So if you base it off that alone, it feels like Xana and Ethan and Kaylee were all different than Maddie. So I always felt like Maddie was sound asleep when this perpetrator walked into her room.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Mm-hmm. And the rest, like I said, I don't believe Kaylee was fully asleep. And we know that Xana wasn't. She was getting DoorDash. So if she gets an estimated delivery at 4:09, or like Dolphin said a couple minutes before, I imagine 9 minutes later, she's still awake when that perpetrator came into the house. She was probably in her bedroom with Ethan eating her DoorDash while he was upstairs unaliving her friends. And then did she go to the kitchen as he was coming down the stairs, or Ethan, vice versa, whichever? They were going toward the kitchen to throw away the garbage from where they just ate. And he was coming down the stairs from what he just did up there. And oh my God, I got to deal with this. Not even realizing at that point, maybe there was still two of them coming. I don't know. What do you guys think logically that you think differently about that, or what?
I think that it could be that he ran into somebody, but then I was thinking what Dylan would have heard the
Mm-hmm.
movement going back towards the room. From all the videos that I've seen of Xana seems like she was kind of loud and boisterous.
Yes.
So what if Xana is, in her room still eating or whatever, watching TikTok and talking about what she's seeing on TikTok, or making noise, or
Yeah.
dancing around, or playing some music or something? And what if when he was getting ready to leave, he heard that, and that's what, led him
Led him
around
to
the
there.
corner?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I always go back to seeing the crime scene people in the kitchen or the living room, excuse me.
Hmm.
And how hard they're like what they're doing to the floor, and they're taking samples of everything. Then I also got to remind myself that the roommates ran through the house. Hunter came over and made entry into Ethan's store. Did he step in blood? Did he track that back through the living room
Yeah, could
on
be.
his way out? You know what I mean? They'll be able to prove that. So take that into account as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things. But if you start looking at it as more timeline pieces come out, as to what could have really have went down in their house that night, and how it could have unfolded, the way it did. Um, Depends on if that food has been eaten yet. Well, I think if she got it at 4 a.m. ish, by the time 4:09 ish comes and he's making his way in that back door, I would say that's 9 minutes to eat, right? 9 minutes to be eating your food. So, yeah. 5 passes, is that right? It was 4 or 5, but the one they cite is the 4th pass at 4:04 in the PCA. Because if you think about it, and if you legit watch Linda Lane footage, because it's real, the 404, he enters that neighborhood for the fourth time. And then at 405, he's back behind there, those apartments at Queen Road, turning around the parking lot, backing out, going back down Queen Road. And then he comes back at the 407 mark, and then he goes around the building. It's 408. His lights go out. You can tell by the reflection on the building. And there he is in the back of the house, that back parking lot. So it lines up, you know what I mean, with Linda Lane footage and the 404. So they don't mention the other ones. It just says three. I think it says 3 other passes were made. And then, but it says what time he entered the neighborhood, which was like
3:26 or something.
26, right? So I made a video the other day. Let me see. Hold on, let me get that. Hold on, let me see it. Come here, video. Okay. This is on my attempt at practicing my video making, y'all. All right. Like, it takes a lot sometimes. Okay. I called it Suspect Vehicle 1. And it's based on Linda Lane footage and movements from the PCA. And I incorporated the PCA pieces in with it. Okay. .329, a car can be seen coming down that road, right? 404, he came into the area. And at 405, he's back. There's his lights. He was backing up that. Got his reverse lights on and he's backed up all the way. And now he's going to go back out the front. 406 goes back out. Here he comes again, 407. He went down there and turned around that 3-point turn that 1112 sees. Goes behind the building. Watch the building. Watch the lights go out. And this is 112. Whoops. Sorry, I was trying to explain it as it was going. That music was kind of loud. Ugh. I need to. But anyway, it lines up, right, with the. That's why they mentioned. I think that's why they said the fourth pass was at 404, because then they see what he's doing back there behind Linda Lane at the same and making these crazy turns in the front of the house and down there doing the 3-point turn and going back up. That was during that time frame right there. But what about the first 3 passes, right? Did he not go all the way up behind the apartments to Linda Lane footage prior? Because we don't see it. We have the whole footage, right?
And he just circled the building.
Yeah, he could have. Well, he could have come down the road, past the house, and turned onto that little tiny street and busted a U-ey, or drove to the back parking lot, turned around, saw Maddie's lights were on, and drove right back out around the King Road house without ever having to go up behind the apartments. You know what I mean?
Interestingly, too, because Jeff H has evaluated the video so much. He says on the 4th pass, the car is going faster, a little bit faster than the others. So it's almost as if the first 3 passes he's waiting. Maybe he's waiting for the lights to go off or something, and then
yeah, exactly. And I'll show you. I just pulled up a map so we can give everybody a visual. And this is all speculations, but if he's not shown on Linda Lane footage prior to the 405 that we saw just reviewed, So if you're coming down, you're doing 3 prior passes. You got to come this way, and this camera has to see it all 4 times. This house sees that car. So if you're doing it 3 times and you're coming down, here's the house, right? And here's that little road to the back parking lot of this complex. So if you come down, you're on your first pass. Do you come down here, turn around, lights are still on, you go back out that same way on all 3 of those passes. But on that 4th pass, 404, DoorDash is at 4 o'clock. Do you pass a car up here somewhere? What makes you go all the way down here this time? Turn around and go back? Did you not, were you unsure about which way to go and park? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the first 3 times, I don't believe that car ever came back here toward Linda Lane. I think it turned around right in here and looked all 3 times. Maybe it came down at 404, came and looked, lights are off, went back out, and then did, what do I do? How do I do this? And then came back here and killed those lights and parked. And they were back here. We saw in that video clip, they were Faro scanning all back here as well. So they'll be able to show the entire parking lot as it was and what the view to the house would have been.
You know what, zoom out. I think right there at Queen and King, that house with the brown roof, I think it's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, remember there were 2 doors on the front of that house?
Yep.
I think there was a Ring camera or something, like a doorbell or whatever.
There is now. I don't know if it was there
blur
at
it?
the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't know if they
is it
wasn't
blurred
that
out?
Jack's old house? You know what I
Oh,
found? You know what I accidentally found yesterday when I
What?
was searching? There was a complete video tour of this house inside and out on a
Oh,
real
yeah, I saw that one.
real estate thing. I had never seen it. If I did, I forgot.
Yeah, I was being nosy.
I was like in there. It showed up in my algorithm when I was researching for the show, and it came up, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm in Jack's house," and I was in there just walking around, But so there was always talk about if there was Ring cameras at this house, right?
What's the other door that has the camera? No.
There's a side. Wait.
Yeah, the side door right there. I think that's the one that had the camera.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, hang on.
Just we don't know if they had it before.
Get like perfectly close to it.
And that's from 2007.
Yeah, that's a bad angle.
Yeah, that's horrible. How do I change the time?
You can't go down the road just one more little step.
No, watch. Let me watch.
It goes too far.
It goes like, yeah,
That's way too far. Oh shoot.
I wonder, did they remove the newer view?
Maybe.
Probably. And then if you go
I
back,
don't remember seeing one. So
yeah, when I go back, it does that. And I bet you still can't even get up King Road. Remember when they stopped us from going up it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
But go back to the street, looking up from the green right there. See this to the left that's blurred out?
Yeah.
I've always been thinking that the house that's directly across the street,
Yeah.
the one that's broken into apartments, there's got to be something right there too.
Yeah, and we have good video. I do have video of this whole street and a clear image, and I've looked at the clear images, and it's hard for me to tell if there's anything there or not.
Yeah, I can't
But
see a camera on it.
Yeah, we've looked hard, hadn't we?
Yeah.
So here is 1112 blurred out. We know there was a camera there. And as Dolphins pointed out, at some point they blurred out this area, which is a building, a house, right behind.
It's got like 3 doors and
yeah, it's right behind this complex. So it won't let us go down the street anymore. They stopped that a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I do have photos, and there is video out there. When
One time 12 gauge had a little, I think he did a short, and he showed that at the Queen Road Apartments, one of the apartments, because if you look at, what's his name, Gray Hughes, you know how he had a 360 video, he did a walkthrough of the whole neighborhood. You could see, it almost looks like a camera in the window. So I don't know if that was debunked or not, but
let me
y'all see that?
Yeah, I remember we talked about that, and I just was like, why put a camera there? I don't know if that was maybe like a router or something else that was,
I showed
near
it to
the
my
window?
son, and he showed me one of his first cameras. He said it does look like a camera to him, but who knows? I mean,
That was a higher floor. It wasn't the
it
first
was the
floor, right?
second floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Then why would you put a camera facing out like that? Like, what
Well,
would you
the
be
front, I
trying to
think the
get?
front is like at the ground level. The front,
Mm.
the entrance to that floor,
Hmm.
and then, you know
Um,
what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a almost like a tunnel that goes through for the first floor,
Oh God,
and
don't say
then
tunnel.
I know. Oh
don't
yeah, people don't even go there.
tunnel. Oh my God! Safe word. Safe word.
Yeah.
We need this.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting design, that whole apartment complex, but I just remember, I don't remember really like further researching it, but yeah.
Um, there's I have walked before they took away our ability to go down that street on the maps. We walked that thing and walked that thing. I did, and I've reviewed so many videos of like JLR driving around there, Rory, and all the people who went back there. Excuse me, and been boots on the ground and drove around the area. I've
Yeah.
tried to review all of that, and it's hard to tell really who had cameras on the apartments and who didn't on the Queen
Right.
Road apartments. Um, this is a drone footage from the house. I thought it was interesting. It's good drone footage, so I'm letting it play while we talk.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the 3D scanning is going to be able to show all of this right here. And then there's the road. Did the car on the first three passes just come down here and turn around back here? You can see what's going on for a minute. Lights are still on in Maddie's room. Maddie's room was back here, right? Y'all can see my arrow, right? Because I tried to make it big and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, I'm pointing it out. Maddie's room was over here where I'm pointing, so you could see straight into her bedroom window, and tell if her lights went out and all that good stuff.
That's creepy. In the footage, there was a white car driving down that hill.
I
Did y'all see
noticed
it?
that. Yes, ma'am. As soon as
Mm.
I saw it, I was like, "Oh no, no! I hope that wasn't an Elantra." Um, yeah. So this is like 50 feet from Xana's bedroom. This house allegedly picks up. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Picks up sound. So when it turns around, let's see, because the camera's on the front of that building, of the front of that home, and it says in the PCA 50 feet away, you can hear noises coming from Xana's room and the alleged dog barking. Or I don't doubt that there's dog barking, but whose dog is in debate, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to go run grab a fresh coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay. Firefly, did we ever find out if, like the house where 1112 is, the blue house, if you're like looking at the back of it, the house to the left or the
Hmm.
one next to that, did we ever find out whether or not there was a camera back there?
I know people were
Because there's,
speculating it,
mm-hmm,
like in the back, because that would have been a good view
well, that would
of
have been
the
perfect.
back door. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if anybody ever verified that or not, to be
Mm.
honest. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just we've gone all up and down these streets looking for cameras and stuff, and it's like, yeah,
Oh,
that was
Truth
fun.
Exposed said Gray was scared. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're talking about when
He got confronted, right?
he got confronted by the owner of the units there, because he was there with his camera, and he's like, "You're trespassing." He's like, "No, it's a parking lot. Anybody can be in the parking lot." And he just sort of chased him off, and he was calling the guy a weirdo. It's like, dude, like, look at yourself. But yeah, he definitely got run off, and people also, he got pulled over by the police too,
Oh, I think I must have missed that. Why'd the police stop him?
speeding, I think.
Gray was speeding in this area?
I don't know if somebody got the body cam footage or what, but I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Interesting stuff. But boy, this girl's, she's gonna have the jitters with all the coffee she drinks.
I don't know how she drinks so much coffee. I don't, yeah.
Mm.
I've had like one cup of tea and that's it. These documents still are not on this site. I have a feeling, I hope they don't get released tomorrow because I've got a haircut appointment late in the afternoon, and I'm like, oh no. I hope
And
they
it's going to
don't.
take all day to go through it.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty cool aerial view of the area. Such a congested little area.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a nice view.
Okay.
Curious noises at 4:14:56 and 4:15:03 after 2. Oh. That's dog barks. Dog didn't bark again.
Well, according to the new documents, somebody's dog barked for like a half hour straight.
Yeah.
They even did a dog test, a dog bark test. That's not going to be admissible in court, I don't think. You got to pass the Daubert hearing and all that and test the validity of your test. And I don't know if there's any science to back up that test. It was just like
I don't know. I mean, think about it. A dog's indoors barking, so the camera is, 50 feet away. It would be more muffled. If the dog is outside, the dog's bark is clearer, and more distinct and probably closer, So it's like, oh, you can definitely tell the difference.
Yeah. Look at that shot. Like that's basically, coming in off Taylor, and this is King, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is Queen, but it's also referred to as King in the PCA. And then, so if you come down, and you look, there's the parking lot. It's crazy.
Where's Jack's house from here?
Right here on the right, or
Yeah, the last one on King.
This one by the tree, right?
No, I think
I
it's the
thought he was
very
further
furthest
up.
one. It's the furthest one.
This one back here with the
Yeah.
brick bottom.
Mhm.
Hang on, I'm echoey to myself. Hold on a minute. Let me adjust my speed back here. Or my speed, my volume. Maybe that's better. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great, because now I'm not echoing in my ear anymore. Actually, I think I need to sit down after this stream and order a new headset, right, from Amazon, guys. I just need to do it, right? Excuse.
Just get one with,
Just do it.
the mute button on the cord, because that's what I just do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
reach
like
down and
I'm gonna
I think
do
I
mute
have
it
the
really
same
quick.
one. It's like $24.99.
That's not. I can swing
Yeah.
it. I can swing
May
it.
even catch it on sale.
Right. I was like, that's like, I knew I was forgetting something I needed. Damn it. Okay. When we get done, I'm getting it. Okay. But I just thought that's an interest. So yeah, Jack's house is over here. And look, here's Willenta Drive back here.
Yeah, it's very
Look how
close.
sparse it is back here during the winter as far as the foliage and the trees, right? And you got a good view. So if you're riding around waiting on lights to go out and you go back up, you can come back around like this. You can just circle. And then you come up here and make 4 passes. But at 404 is when you choose to go behind these apartments. So the first 3 times had to be here. The only thing I ever wondered was how they know the PCA states that car appeared. They say it come down here and did a 3-point turn. In this camera here at 1112, we'll see that. But it also says it appeared to turn around or attempt to park in front of the King Road home. And I'm like, how do they know that? Right? So then I wondered, did they go
That's
by
the elusive camera.
See, so hold on a second, because what you just said takes me back to this wide blue house across the street from 1112. So you see, yeah, because it's across from their parking lot, basically,
Right.
too,
It is.
right? And remember, Olivia, Kaylee's sister, said they saw them get out of the car when they were dropped off.
Yes.
And they saw them go back out of the home to walk the dog. So, if they get the dog from the 3rd floor, do they walk out the 2nd floor? And is there something there, back there? on the side of the house that pick
I
them up,
agree.
or is there something directly in front of the house that picks
Exactly.
them up?
Because she did say that. She said, we can see
Mm-hmm.
them get dropped off. We can see them walk Murphy. So then I was like, okay, so what did they do? Did they see the drop off car because of this camera? And then did the girls walk Murphy down the street, to for this camera to see that? And I was like, no, I'm with you, Dolphin. So if you opt, oh, what's happening here? I wanted to freeze it again. They're putting their little, oh shit, back up.
Someone else had a camera. We just don't know who it is.
Well, I'm gonna show. So let's see. Let's take a look. Let me freeze it. All right. So let me see if it gets a little closer. Why is it? Shit.
I guess that's it. The closest you can get.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a little blue building right here, and there's little, apartments here on the front. And now, like that, they blurred out this house, and they have a habit of blurring out houses with cameras on this map for this location.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you can't even get down the
That's
street
true.
anymore. So yeah, so there's a blurred out building over here now. So was there a camera there that saw the girls get out of the car, right? Time stamped when the car got out of the car and go in. Did this camera see them bring Murphy out to go for a walk in the front area here? Because there's less snow or whatever, I don't know. I'm gonna go walk down here and see if I see lights on at Jack's. I gotta walk right here to see Jack's, right? So we're gonna go over here and use the bathroom, Murphy, so I can spy on Jack.
Yeah, that 3-story building that Truth is asking about. That's that's the Taylor Street
Yeah,
apartments, right, or
yeah.
whatever.
Right
I've
here.
never seen a camera on there. That doesn't
And
mean
we
there isn't one,
looked, we
but we've
tried.
looked
Yeah.
and looked. I
We've
mean,
looked and looked and looked and looked behind. This is Taylor Avenue that runs, where the red line is at right now. That's actually, call that Taylor Avenue.
yeah.
And this is a big apartment complex here.
And I don't remember seeing the backside of that blurred out
Uh-uh.
because we were actually looking at this, longer
And
blue one across from the house.
right, and don't forget those concrete stairs are right here, leads up to the King Road house. Can y'all see my
Right.
pointer?
Yeah.
From
No, I don't see your pointer, but I know where you're talking about.
Oh.
Oh, now I see it. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I should make it bigger. Right there, stop. So there's the concrete path, and then stairs lead up right here in front of the King Road home. So I always wondered, was, the
You would
camera
think.
situation.
I would want a camera there if I lived in one of those. You know what I mean? Just to see who's coming up and down.
Randos walking by all the time, and it's super
Mhm.
dark out there, at night. We all know how dark it is back here at night. They didn't have there's no major street lighting going on back here.
No.
Just whatever you leave on at the front door. It's interesting. And then, so allegedly, according to the probable cause affidavit, if that car's parked back here, it leaves at 420 at a high rate of speed. So if you run out that back door and you jump in your car and you take off right here, you accidentally skid out, you accidentally peel out right here and leave your tire marks. I'm not still convinced those tire marks were already there. I'm dying to know. That is one of my favorite pieces of evidence in this case. I've got the video I made where they're absolutely out there measuring it. I want to know how fresh that thing was. I want to know if it matched any of the tires that were on that Elantra. If old boy changed tires on the way to his trip across the country, where did you stop and change those tires? Got to have.
Well, it doesn't show a tire change on the what do you call it, Carfax? I think it does
Right.
show when he got back into
I think
Pennsylvania.
he had air checked.
He did
and stuff
something
like
there.
that, oil change,
So you don't
that kind of stuff.
So maybe
Well,
he didn't have
it would
any.
be on the Carfax.
I'm good if he didn't change any of those tires. I'm good with that. And I know people are like, well, he put a lot of tread on them going on their way. Well, go look up tire tread evidence. You'd be amazed at what you can learn. That's one of my favorite pieces of evidence. It has been for years, since that lady broke her own daughter's case with that hit and run remember, Dolphin, where she got up with a piece of paper and sketched the tire tread on on that
Mm-hmm.
dude's vehicle, and
Yeah.
lo and behold, it matched what was at the crime scene and caught the man who ran over her baby on her own. Hell
Mm.
yeah! So I always loved me some tire treads since Stefan Stearns and his tire tread pieces he left at the scene of the crime. Yes, sir. Bring it. All right, so I'm so curious to know if those skid marks. Uh,
Yeah, Truth is saying that there's a rumor he did change it. Yeah, maybe I think on the Carfax it does say something like he did some sort of routine
yeah, I
maintenance,
looked at it.
maybe a tire change. I think
I'll have
it's
to.
possible.
I had it. I gotta. Maybe I have
Hmm.
it in
Yeah, I
my.
was going to ask, does somebody have it handy?
Let me check my Coburger file on my Google Chrome thingy or whatever you call my bookmark
Because
shit.
wouldn't that be convenient too? Oh, I had to change my tire because I put so much miles on my car.
I know I would save something like that, and I'm trying to get better about keeping
Not to
check.
mention the weirdness about how many miles he put on that car, like in such a short distance of a span of
Oh
time.
yeah. What
Like
did
very
we were
strange.
looking at that? Did I have it
Yeah, you were
in
looking at it.
Excel or Word? We did look at
Ooh.
Yeah,
that.
we did. Now I'm having. I don't know where I hang on. Let me think about for a sec.
We get sidetracked. It's okay.
What did I do? Do you remember Firefly? What I did that in?
No, I don't. If it was
Because if we
Excel
looked
or.
at the Carfax, and
Hmm.
I guess it would have probably been Excel. Let me see. Oh, I found it.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, I got a nice
I was
spreadsheet.
about to snatch it off Reddit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wait,
That's
you
right.
got to share that spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. um,
No, I mean you got to share me access to it.
oh yeah, yeah, I can do that. Let me. Do you guys want to see this spreadsheet?
Yes, of course.
Okay, let's see. Share. Where
Oh, let
is
me get back
it?
there. I got to go back there and do my thing. Hold on. Okay,
Hold on, I'm looking for it. It's
you're good. I'm ready when you are.
well, so it's not a tab, it's a window. Just this one thing? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, backwoods. I've done videos on Xana from that location. I know what you're. I know everybody says they were there.
How
I
long do
I
tire
do
tracks
understand.
last on I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I do understand. Those could have been, older one. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Those could
I'm sure
be
people burn out all the time, or you know what I mean? It could have been just different
exactly.
tracks.
It could have been from one of the people who
It is
lived there.
college kids.
You know, Kaylee's like, I'm gonna peel out my new vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh, he did replace tires, so that was before.
Interesting.
When? Before? Oh, okay. Show your
August
stuff.
15th, 2022. I've got
Oh,
it up.
oh, okay. So that would be weird to change them
Oh, I'm
after.
sorry. There we go, Dolphin. Okay.
Okay. Can you guys see this?
Tire repair.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
see it.
So, yeah, one night Firefly and I were looking at the Carfax and everything, and so I decided to put it into a spreadsheet. And basically, over here, I've got like the dates of the entries on the Carfax, the mileage that the car was at, the source of, the data, the comments, and then I actually started calculating the difference in the mileage. So for the first one, December 6, 2019, he had 77,033 miles, and the source was the Pennsylvania Motor Vehicles Department. Um, and it says vehicle purchase reported. So we were
His mom's
talking
car
in
then.
this.
Hmm.
Hmm?
I think it was his mom's car at that point,
Right,
no?
that's what I was going to say because he had
Oh.
gotten the car from one of his parents, right?
Hmm.
And so basically that was like my starting point. So there's no difference in mileage. Okay. Oh, and I got this off of Twitter. I found the Carfax on Twitter. Okay. And then on June 25th, 2020, his mileage was 80,243. And the source is the same thing, the Pennsylvania Motor Vehicles Department in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, because there was a title issued or updated, was a comment. So the difference in mileage between December 2019 and June 2020 is only 3,200 miles. So I also, in columns F, I've got the time since the last entry in days, in months, the mileage per month, and like the average miles per day or whatever. So basically, we were thinking, okay, this makes sense that he only would have driven 3,200 miles in that period because we had COVID and we were in the COVID lockdown. So nobody was, really driving anywhere. And then so Oh, actually, what happened to my other tabs? Because we also factored in, when we were talking about it, how far his university was away from him, like if he had to drive over to the campus, how many miles that would have been, and all that. So it was really interesting what we did this night. But so then here on line four, this one. November 25th, 2020, again, the Motor Vehicles Department, registration issued or renewed. I didn't have a mileage there. Then jumping from November 2020 to August 2021, he's now at 94,328 miles. So that's because of a service facility in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, which also happens to be the city that Dana Smithers lived in. He had tires replaced then. Difference in mileage is 14,000 miles. So basically, he had driven 14,000 more miles since June of 2020, which is the last time that I had a mileage entry. So then, kind of you see the averages and the days, the months, the miles per month, miles per day. Then down here we go to January 26, 2022, another service facility, 96,000 miles. He had tire repaired. This guy is rough on his tires because if you notice, a lot of these things are tires, 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 right? And he had only driven between August 2021 and January 2,200 miles. So got that from something that JLR had, a screenshot of his. So then we jump to April 2022, and he's gone up to 101,000 miles, title issued or updated. So he drove 4,900 more miles. The reason, too, that we did this spreadsheet was because we were trying to figure out if he had driven out to Washington State before he actually started there. So what was it that we were trying to figure out if he? Oh, the other crime. Remember the girl's house that had gotten broken into, and the girl, she was asleep,
Oh, the one
and
who the
somebody was
panties were
in
in
her
her.
room. No, 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 no.
No,
Remember the guy who
different
was in the
one?
room? He was in the house. The girl
Oh, yeah,
had
yeah,
the
yeah,
bedroom
yeah.
in the basement,
Right, the one in
and she
Pullman.
woke up. Right, and I think it ended up, they think it was the next door neighbor, and whatnot, but they could never really prove it. But they basically were like, oh, was Brian, out there in Washington State, and, did he commit this? So looking at the difference in the mileage and knowing that driving across is like well over 2,000 miles, like almost 2,500 or whatever, it's like, no, he couldn't have done that, here. But then, yeah, so then we go from April of 2022, and knowing he graduated from DeSales with his master's 1 month later, okay? Then we jump to August 15th, 2022, at Evergreen Tire in Pullman. He had a tire condition, pressure checked, tires replaced, oil and filter change. So between April of 2022 and August of 2022, he put 10,000 more miles on his car. Okay. And then so in basically that's 117 days between those two dates. 3.9 months. So basically, in 4 months, he drove 10,000 miles. Okay. So you also have to factor in, yes, that includes that one-way trip out to Washington. So it's like, okay, but that's still right before school started. This dude did a lot of driving.
Yeah.
So, which I kind of thought was very interesting because if you look back at his previous patterns, he didn't have that much driving.
Yeah.
So, and then, what do you call it? Did I have oh, I must not have put something here.
And when it comes down
Yeah.
to is whether he actually did any, that may not even be his tire impressions.
Mm-hmm.
It could be totally unrelated. It could be incredibly relating. So I'm curious to see that. And I'm going to ask you this question though, if you're my suspect and I have you arrested
Mm-hmm.
and this tire impression doesn't match any of your tires, I'm going to ask you, when was the last time you changed a tire on your car? And then I'm going to want you to tell me where that was. what time it was. Did you pay cash? Would you pay? We can verify that. Um, yeah, sometimes I don't know. Would they still have that tire? I don't know. But I would need to know when that took
Do
place.
one of you have the Carfax, actual Carfax?
I don't have. I'd like to see an updated one.
Yeah, because I want to see
See, I thought I
after
had it.
he returned, because I could have sworn
Hmm.
something happened when he got back. Eh,
I do remember them saying that they, like the police, when they were watching him, they said didn't they say he went to like a service center
yeah,
or something? He was doing a lot with his car.
as if he was
No,
going
I don't
to.
have a newer one. It
Mm.
would be interesting to pull it. That's why I told you I asked my friend whose husband owns a auto repair shop if they have Carfax, or whatever. Because I was like, oh, I wanted her to pull this VIN number, but yeah, she said she didn't.
I'm trying to. I think why is there error there? That's bullshit. Um, I got. Okay, that's not the full report though. When you click the link, it's gone. It doesn't work. This was on Reddit.
Yeah, that's why I was looking on Reddit too.
Yes, truth exposed. Yeah, you got down to the same point that I was talking about. That this
What's
dude
that?
cruised more than 7,000 miles. You know, in
Yeah.
Washington, basically, because he only was in Albrightsville for like another couple of months. So if that's April 2022, he moved out in like the end of June, right? Or whatever. So yeah, subtract the 2,500 miles off of that 10,293. So yeah, either, a little bit of it is in Pennsylvania, but I mean, he didn't live in a major city, so he's not really clocking that kind of mileage where he lived in Pennsylvania, and he was done with school, so he probably really didn't have to drive anywhere. So yeah, the bulk of that is going to be in Washington, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Um, well, I mean, okay, so they were talking about. I was watching somebody discuss this case and talking about establishing patterns, but like even the 12 pings driving toward Moscow was that establishing a pattern, like I go shopping over here type of pattern, right? Um, the pattern to go out driving to stargaze.
Mhm.
Was there a previous pattern of that already prior to the crimes of these two things? Was it common? But then they report that after the crimes, his phone never pinged again in Moscow, like that. So he broke that routine or whatever. Um, so it's interesting to see the different aspects that could go into this damn case. Um, I was still looking. I was still looking to
Yeah.
find the Carfax report, but I don't
Oh,
see it.
okay.
But
Go ahead.
yeah, no,
The
I'm
only
just
the
yeah.
only
Those
thing I see, because I found it on Reddit, and it just says manufacturer service campaign issued where he had like underbody corrosion preventative.
Mhm.
On that
I
was
saw
on
one.
12/1/22.
So
Well,
the one I'm looking at, it when I click, it's on Reddit and it's supposed to be a Carfax report, but when you click the link, it didn't take you there. But it says that let's see, they give the make and model, the VIN number, and all that. It's on here. It says it seems like BK was the fourth owner of that Hyundai Elantra. It
Right.
acquired in 2019. It had 77,000 miles on it when he got it. Wow. Okay. The next service was done at 8/15/2022, Pullman, Washington. Is that on your thing? Is that
Yeah. Mhm.
okay? Okay. And it had 111,000 miles on it at that point. 808.
Right.
Is that what it
Yep.
says? Okay.
Mhm.
And then on 11/18 is when he did his registration change.
mhm.
Mhm. Yep. 5 days after the murders.
Yeah. Then when you click the link to go look at the full report, it's broken. It doesn't take me there anymore. So, I'll have to look. Yeah, I don't know if those are his tire impressions out there in front of that house or not, but if I'm an investigator, I'm thoroughly trying to find out. Especially if the car left at a high rate of speed, you would have to hear it from the 1112 camera or the possible camera from right across the street. And think about it, if you're trying to get out of there and it's kind of a slope, right, going down, at that point you would be going down it. And you get on it, did that car peel out for a second? You know what I mean? I mean, without accidentally, not like on purpose. Like you didn't expect that to happen, but you just had to get on it and get out of there. And boom, left your tire impression. So,
You know, another thing I just thought of too with his driving or whatever his quote unquote driving habits. So, like I said before, he lived in a small town, you know, and he moved to another small town basically because think about it, Pullman and Moscow are like right on top of each other pretty much, you know, so either he's driving, you know, between one or the other, and then oh okay, let's sprinkle in this Hawaii park or whatever, you know. And I mean, we've seen on the map there's not a whole lot out there, but I mean even still, you know, that's only maybe like 20-30 minutes drive, you know, south or whatever if you want some scenery, or west or whatever. But still, like if you look at my eighth row here, that's like an average of 88 miles per day, 2,600 miles per month
Yeah, that's a lot.
to get this 10,000 something miles,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. So, were those the drives, you know, out to go hiking and the drives to go stargazing, things like that? And I want to know how many photos of, you know, I don't know, depending on his camera or his phone, he may not have had a good enough camera to photograph the sky at night, right? So if you don't have a good enough camera, my camera's badass on my phone, but when it's dead ass dark outside, it doesn't like to cooperate. Like on a full moon, I'm better off to get my shots at dusk, right before it turns dark, and I can zoom in and get amazing pictures. But I don't know how good his camera was, right? You know, go out and with your phone and test it. Try to take a picture. If you don't have like noise pollution, light pollution, noise pollution, light pollution, and you can get a good shot, go and even to do it with lighting, you go out there and take a picture and see what you can see. You know, it's
As
interesting.
techy as this guy was, and you know, I looked at the hard drives that they pulled from his house and everything, he had good taste in
I
tech. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So I don't think he bought some phone that was, you know, not going
I
to
think he
take
had a
good
good.
pictures.
They
He had the
didn't we
new
have the
iPad too, didn't he?
He had the new
Or they had the
iPad.
receipt for one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The iPad was from like 2018,
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
think.
But
okay. So I don't know.
so,
He had an Android phone, so I don't know what
mhm,
model he had, right? Um,
right.
I don't know if we have don't we have, no, we don't have the full IME numbers and all that stuff. I don't think we do. In the warrants.
No, they've redacted all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff's gone. Um,
Well, did he get a new phone and phone line in June before he moved out there?
I don't know. See that, and that's the thing that I was talking about. So, you know, when I got this new phone the other day, you know, you can have a physical SIM card in a newer phone now. You can have a physical SIM card, and you have two slots for eSIMs. So that's why I was like, if he kept this old number, the one
Mm-hmm.
that he originally had in Pennsylvania, he could have theoretically had both the
New
old
phone.
number and the new 8458 number
Right.
on one physical device. So that's why I was just like, did he have two devices? Or, you know, but then they haven't mentioned anything about this other,
Yeah, we don't know
like
how
the
many
old
devices,
one,
right?
so
I
much.
don't think it
Hmm.
said it just two phone lines, but actual
yes,
devices, I
they were
don't
looking.
know.
They were when we reviewed everything the other day. Had two phone lines on him, two numbers. Let me say it that way.
Hmm.
So yeah, there was two numbers for him. Was one of those a burner phone? Was it legit? You know, a plan phone, whatever. But it's going to be interesting to see why he had the two phones, um, and what was on them. You know,
Oh,
even if
yeah.
yeah, we learned from Stefan Stearns, even resetting your phone twice, you know, They were still able to recover everything from Stefan Stern's phone because he had it all backed up to his Google account. And he reset that phone, what, twice?
Yeah,
Not
he
once, but
did.
twice. Yep. Thinking he was good to go. So yeah, go ahead, take my phone. It should be okay, he said. Yeah, it should now, you think, because you reset it twice.
Yeah.
Right? And
Mhm.
yeah, dumbass. Good for him for getting not being smart. Anyway, um, y'all want to review the alibi from Brian Koberger?
Oh, yeah, we can. I'm sorry, I was reading chat.
What we got going on over here in
Backwood Beats.
Oh, I'd really love to know if these numbers are even legit. What numbers? What
I mean,
she's
there's
presenting?
the ones on the court documents, or
No, they're
which
talking about the
one?
phone numbers.
Oh, the phone numbers we're referring to,
Mm.
out of the court documents that we were been go pouring over for the last week, and we're waiting on more to come down now. Even if you go back to the search warrant, and now they're starting to identify what a lot of this was that was redacted, and yeah, Koberger had 2 phones.
Mm.
That's in the latest filings that came down. And we aren't suggesting, innocent until proven guilty. In fact, the banners scrolling across, all opinions are welcome. But we will talk about both sides of it, So welcome in, everybody. Be respectful in chat and have a, good conversation, and it'll be what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you
Also
had
too about the
go
phone
ahead.
though, about the, getting the new number. I don't remember if I've said this or whatever, a work phone and a personal phone. No, he wasn't employed. He had just graduated from, DeSales, so he got his master's in May of 2022, and then went to go get this new number, the 8458 number, in June 23rd, 2022,
Yeah.
or whatever. And it's like, I saw that a long time ago, and I was just like, think about it. What are the reasons that you would get rid of your cell phone number that you've had for X amount of years? What are the reasons? You know,
Yeah.
if you've had your cell phone since, your cell phone number or whatever, since college or whatever, you would want to keep something that that old so people can get in touch with you. I mean, people don't change their numbers, just
No,
willy
no, they
nilly.
don't. I don't.
Long
Right.
distance doesn't even, really exist anymore. We don't have to pay for long distance calls. So it's like people, could live in one state and then move all the way across the country. And it's like, yeah, you just take, your old area code. Area codes,
I'm always skeptical of people who go changing their number a lot.
hmm
Like even locally even, like why? I've had the same number for years.
I mean,
Even,
you change because you're trying to hide from somebody,
yeah, exactly.
like
Trying to
say
get
if
away
you were
from that
in,
old crew,
hmm
yeah, exactly. That's my
yeah,
thought
but this
pattern.
guy was pretty much a loner. He didn't have a whole bunch of friends, from what it sounds like. He wasn't very, like
Uh,
socially outgoing, right? From what it
uh,
sounds like.
Backwoods, you're saying that the
So,
number,
Donnie, you've changed your number a few different times. Why? Just tell me why. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't legitimate reasons for
yeah,
doing it, but people
Well,
don't do it that often.
right. And
one
so,
time when I moved from Connecticut down to Florida, I changed my number because to have the same area code as most people.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I mean, you didn't have to do that, but I don't
But
know.
yeah,
That's
I
one
mean,
reason.
once, I get it. It is possible. But if you
hmm
look at the totality of everything that you do know, and you're looking, you're like, whoa, that there what. So look, you say that. Let me get back up to your.
In
Where'd it
that
go?
situation, to Firefly, that's like a permanent move for you. This
Right.
guy is a student. Right? I went to school out of state. I wasn't
Mhm.
changing my cell phone number, just to
Right.
fit in, where I was or whatever. Because why? I'm coming back to my my home base, at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the. I can't read. So, I'm sorry. Backwoods. You believe that the 548 number is WSU Police.
I've heard that. I don't know.
But
Versus 8458, like, is it a typo? Is that what they're saying?
what now? Explain that to me.
No.
What?
Well, first of all, the number's wrong. If they're talking about Brian's number, it's 8458.
8458. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. This number isn't in the document, is it? No, I don't think it is. If you know where that's located in the document, I was talking about the car. Where
Oh, the Carfax. Yeah.
By the way, Backwood, that song, it was I like that a lot. I want to play it, but I didn't want to get struck. It's funny.
Oh, okay. I see your link, Firefly, for the Carfax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where's is this? No, it didn't move.
Let me take this down, and then you can. Let's try that.
Yeah, because I clicked on her link really quick. Let's see. Sorry, I'm looking for the tab. I've got a lot of tabs open, as usual.
You're good.
Where?
Yeah, I've only
Oh,
changed.
it's this one, Nicole.
I've changed my cell number once. I had one number for years, and then it was like I was like just I had enough of some people and stuff like this, whatever. I changed my number once, but now I've had that same number for years, right?
Yeah. But you know what though? Here's the thing. Everybody is like looking at this from their viewpoint or whatever. Put yourself in the mindset of a 20 something year old person.
Yep.
Right? Not 40, 50, 60, however old you are, you
Right.
know. 20 something year olds don't change their phone numbers.
No,
You
because
know,
they
that
don't want to lose that connection.
often.
Yeah,
Right.
I totally get that.
Once
Um,
you're out and you're living your life and in the real world, yeah, there could be reasons, that you would do it, but it's not
Well,
that common is basically what I'm saying.
yeah,
what
and I
about this? I was just going to say, what? Okay, maybe he didn't have a work line, but maybe they told him to get another line so that he could use
No.
it for work. You don't think so?
For
Oh.
for being a
do
TA
you think he
and a
had like a
PhD student? No.
so that would be thinking that one of those was a school issued phone, right?
No.
No, yeah.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
they were
And I'm
both
sorry, I'm speaking from my brother was in grad school working on his PhD and everything. Got grants, yada yada, and everything. And no, they don't give you phone numbers. I mean, or cell phones or whatever. It's not that, it's not that type of working
Okay.
relationship.
Well, that's just a
right,
thought.
because you could
Yeah.
correspond by email, right? They would be like they would do their communication through
That's true.
email.
Yeah,
If
you would
you wanted to go to
primarily
the
be,
office, right? If he was like chilling at his apartment and they needed to talk to him, they were going to email him, right? Versus, just calling on a
I
private line.
mean, they would call. It's they're
Call his phone,
students,
call his
you know.
actual phone, right?
Yeah,
Call
they're
his actual
students.
phone.
It's not corporate like the corporate world, where it's like you've got to keep your email communications segregated on the business laptop,
Well, that's all I'm
blah blah
saying.
blah,
Like
or
maybe
on
he
the
didn't
business
want,
phone,
maybe he didn't want his students calling his personal number. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a thought.
Well, they wouldn't have called his personal number. His students would have had his office phone. Because remember, he shared an office
That's
with
true.
somebody and he had office hours. So his students would have had whatever phone number that was sitting there on that desk in his office and whatever his, WSU email is for communications. But you know what I mean? So there's still not a need for him to have a quote unquote business, like a work cell phone. You know what I mean? Not as a PhD student.
Clear Solutions is
Yeah.
making a final attempt to contact you about a 42,000.
Oh my goodness.
I think, yeah, I'm sharing the Carfax that we saw.
Okay. All right, you're good.
Firefly put this link
Backward.
up.
Oh, let me see. Let me get it pulled up here. Oops. There we go. All right, go ahead.
Is it up on the screen? Can you guys see it?
Yeah, can you guys see that? I got it up.
I know that it's a
I
little
see
bit
it.
of a
Yes.
lag. Okay. Oh, that's weird. Why don't I? Okay, yeah, it's laggy. Sorry. This is a link that Firefly put in the back chat for a screenshot of one of them. I mean, it's not the entire thing. There's another actual, let me see. You've got this one and you've got this one. Oh, yeah, there's a line for November 18th on this one and then December 1st, 2022. Oh, this is where the underbody corrosion, okay, came from. I mean, other than just looking at these screenshots, if you really don't, I guess, believe where this information came from, I would suggest you pull up the, what is it, the Pennsylvania warrants, like the returns when they grabbed his car and they searched the items in the house and everything because the one for the car has his VIN number on it. So you could literally go to Carfax, and pay for one and get a full report using his VIN number if you don't, believe the screenshots or whatever. So, yeah. Let me see.
Shit, I was muted again. Damn it. Um, yeah, that information I also think is linked in the Discord. Maybe I can pull it up in a minute.
Mhm.
That Pennsylvania stuff with all the report on there. But yes, you can definitely. I dropped Backwood Beats and Outlaw Rhythms link in the channel, guys. It's a music channel. Some interesting videos over there. He has one out right now that's cute. So go over there and take a look if you want a good laugh.
Oh, alrighty. Let's see. I actually was trying to find out the price on Carfax reports. Uh, is my screen sharing?
Let me see what
Oh no, just
I
that.
could.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I forgot how much. Do you remember how much they were? Firefly?
How much? What?
Getting a Carfax.
Carfax? Oh, I don't recall. It wasn't a whole lot, but I
Yeah,
mean,
I just
more
don't
than I
remember
wanted.
why I didn't. Oh, okay. One Carfax report is $44.99.
Oh yeah.
Two $59.99. Four $99.99. Um,
Yeah, I guess if
yeah,
you're shopping for a car, maybe
yeah. Do they have a monthly subscription or something where you could just say, "Oh, I want to sign up for like a month of access"? I don't see.
Yeah, I think 44 is a lot just to look.
Yeah, just to prove to somebody that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know. Me personally, I don't have a channel or anything. I don't have, skin in the game.
Right,
So
right, right.
I have no reason to have, sat
Yeah,
back one night to create a spreadsheet to
exactly.
analyze this or whatever and have it be like fake numbers. If you look at, you know, what's
She
on the
does her
screen.
research. Absolutely, she does her research. It's not like this is on a whim. Pull up some stuff we saw on the internet. This is like, trust me, she's done her research. And I was trying to pull up from. Let me see if I can do this. Will this slide? Oh no.
Oh, his tires, truth exposed. Even those little rinky dink ones, they don't record the transaction with the VIN number. I'm just wondering about that because, yeah, I thought they were supposed to record like everything that, was done to the car. I guess you could go to a dodgy neighborhood and just be, one of these places that has like tires just stacked all over the place and say, yeah, give me two and pass somebody some cash or whatever. I'm sure there are places like that that wouldn't.
Dolphin, see if you can pull up. I just put a link
That?
in the back chat.
Okay.
That should be the Pennsylvania stuff. I want to see if it'll work. It wouldn't let me have a separate screen for it.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. Yep. Okay.
Okay, let me get you back up there. Uh-oh. She dropped out, guys. She'll come back. She'll be back. She'll be back. Here she comes. Here she comes. You
No
back?
new documents.
You dropped out for a moment, so
Who, me?
yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
You're back now, and we just pulled your screen back up.
Okay. Let's see. Share this tab instead. Okay. Oh, here it is. It's on the first page. Can I edit this? Let's see. Edit. Oh, I'm not signed in. So, 1, 2, in the third section down, you've got the police incident number in the center, and then it says Pennsylvania State Police. Right underneath that, identify items to be searched for and seized. There's his VIN number right there. And his Washington registration, I guess that's his license plate.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, $49.99. I just didn't feel like paying $49.99 just to get this guy's full Carfax. That's why I was trying to see if my friend's husband could pull it through his shop.
But there you guys go. Screenshot it if you want to go pull it up and pay for it.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not either. I don't earn no money like that on the YouTube. Anyway, but so that yeah, so there's that. Like I said, we do our research. We don't try to put out false information, but we put out information and have conversations around it, because we do not know if this guy's innocent or guilty, but we can talk about both sides, and we do. You know, the three of us have went down so many rabbit holes and tried to put anybody else in there but the perpetrator that's been arrested. So then we had to go start, evaluating for real, could this guy be the guy? I mean, you have to at some point, right?
Yeah. I see. So Backwood Beats says the phone number ending in 8458 is identified as his personal cell phone number. This number is mentioned in the probable cause affidavit. Still looking one more minute where the entire number is listed. Right. Nobody's like, we agree with you that that's his personal cell phone number, but it's a number that he got before he left Pennsylvania. And when he was applying to WSU, he had like a completely different number.
Right. So we were just speculating as to why you would change the number. That's all we were doing. There could be absolutely, we've all discussed that. There could be something to it, and there could be absolutely an innocent reason why.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that. And we weren't saying that's exactly what he did to do this or that. We said it's a possibility. So, but thank you for your comments. Hello, Miss Potts. How are you doing? What was this over here? Let's take a look at his alibi one more time. Let me do this. Because I'm still going to be pinpointing. Because remember the newest document that came out that said any mention of the alibi needs to come from the defendant, right? Like out of his mouth. And this is why. Let me pull the screen up. So he offered alibi, and then they're like, okay, well, now we demand the alibi. Because now you have to, because you said you had one. So, because remember, Ann said they were going to offer an alibi in court. So the next thing you know, they're like, you better hand that over. Now that you initiated it, you have to hand it over. So then came the alibi. Okay. And since this alibi is going to be a big part of it, right? Was he driving toward Moscow, or was he really driving the other direction, headed out toward Wawawi? And a lot of this stuff they're asking to be suppressed, that they were denied. And now a lot of the motions in limine refer to this data this document's going to refer to. All right. So this was Brian Kohberger's alibi. Sorry, I heard a noise out the window and whatever. Okay. Comes now Brian C. Kohberger by and through his attorney of record, Ann C. Taylor, public defender, hereby files a supplemental response to the demand for alibi in compliance with Idaho Code 19519 and Idaho Criminal Rule 12.1. Mr. Kohberger moved to Pullman, Washington in June of 2022. As an avid runner and hiker, he explored many areas of the Palouse. Of note, he explored Wawawi Park in July of 2022, and this became a favorite location. After the school year began, Mr. Kohberger was busy with classes. So after the school year began, he was busy with his classes and work at Washington State University, and his running and hiking decreased but did not stop. Instead, his nighttime drives increased. This is supported by data from Mr. Kohberger's phone showing him in the countryside late at night and or in the early morning on several occasions. So prior to that night. The phone data includes numerous photographs taken on several different late evenings, okay, better lighting, and early mornings, including in November, depicting the night sky, but in the late evening and early morning hours, not in the middle of the night, right? Because it's too dark to take them pictures then. Mr. Kohberger was out driving in early morning hours of November 13th of 2022, as he often did to hike and run or see the moon and stars. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, including Wawawi Park. So she's saying that he did drive out there that night. Partial corroboration. This is how they plan to corroborate it, that he was out driving around. Remember, there was no phone service for about 2 hours, or the phone was turned off. Either way, 2 hours, phone was offline. So they're going to use partial corroboration to back up this alibi. Mr. Kohberger intends to offer testimony of CSLI expert, cell tower, cell phone, and other radio frequency curricula vitae is attached. And that's where they attach all of his credentials, basically, to show that Brian Kohberger's mobile device was south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, Idaho, on November 13th of 2022. That Brian's Kohberger's mobile device did not travel east on the Moscow-Pullman highway in the early morning hours of November 13th, and thus could not be the vehicle captured on video along the Moscow-Pullman highway near Floyd's cannabis shop. So we know that there was I've already seen on the maps where Floyd's is located. There's a nice big camera in the front. He's close to the road. So they've let us know that there was a sighting at that location, but they're saying it wasn't his car. Additional information as to Mr. Kohberger's whereabouts as early morning hours progressed, including additional analysis by Mr. Ray, will be provided once the state provides discovery requested and subject to an upcoming motion to compel. If not disclosed, Mr. Ray's testimony will also reveal the critical exculpatory evidence, further corroborating Mr. Kohberger's alibi, and either not preserved nor has been withheld. Now, see, they're saying that they're going to use phone data to back up this alibi. Do you think they can do that? What do y'all think?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, even if
they're gonna try.
Yeah, I mean, Hang on one second, guys. Okay. There we go. Yeah. We've all, so she even said that in the last hearings about that, the car going the wrong direction, not going toward Moscow. But like, did it turn around, and go back, to throw things off, or did it need to go into that? Did it need to go that route for a reason? Because you go, why take the phone? I think there was a reason. Because what time did the phone go offline? Not long after he left his apartment complex. What time?
I can't remember the exact times, but it's like within 10 minutes of leaving the apartment.
Yeah.
And there's like a 9-minute period where he went up the street and then stayed there for like 9 minutes. And that's when the phone disconnected.
I need to figure out that exact time that occurred, because I'm a bit confused on that 9-minute thing, and I'm trying to look at my notes to see if I had it written down. Let's see. Here we go. Here's my thing.
Well, anybody who has a PCA open will have it. I think Dolphin was looking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still trying to get an answer to my question about this 8548. So I'm actually searching the.
They were saying wherever the map is, the map.
I know. I looked at several maps and I didn't see 8548. So I'm doing a OCR conversion of the document, so I can actually do a Control F, because I've asked what page number it was, but I haven't seen an answer yet.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if the time is correct yet, because remember he went up the Northeast Nevada Street and then he stayed there for like 7 to 9 minutes or whatever. But now they're saying the time the phone went off is 7 minutes later than that actual time mentioned in the PCA. So,
well, from my notes that I took from page 5 of the PCA, at 3:26 a.m. it's traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive, and at approximately 3:26. At approximately 3:26 is traveling down the Indian Hills. Remember that video I showed earlier that I did? It was like 3:20. Right after that, when the car comes by there or something, multiple videos from King Road neighborhood showed, 3:29, multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29, ending at 4:20. At 4:04, it can be seen entering the area the 4th time. 4:20, it leaves at a high rate of speed. 2:44 a.m. starts. Suspect vehicle 1 traveled north on Southeast Nevada at Northeast Stadium Way at 2:44 a.m. At 2:53, the vehicle is observed traveling southeast on Nevada, and then I don't know then I don't see it again until 5:25. That's how my notes are written out here. I'm like, what happened there? There's a gap. Because at 5:25 a.m., that's when they see it on 5 cameras heading back into Pullman towards his house. I can't believe I don't have the exact time the phone went offline on these notes right here.
It's like
I know why.
Or something.
I didn't finish doing the phone one like I did the locations for all the cameras and stuff. But I thought that I did write it down on here so that I had it right here. 2:47 a.m. until 4:48 a.m. the phone was not reporting.
Okay.
And it says here that at 2:44 he was seen traveling on Nevada. So that's 2:44. And just a few minutes later, at 2:47, the phone goes off. So he would have been, if this is accurate, in a good area with service. You know what I'm saying? Not the countryside without service. So you have to take a look at that, and
So
does it mean anything? Maybe not, but they got,
So that's where Ann Taylor was saying that the actual time was 7 minutes later than it says there. So what does that make it? 254. So was he further west or what? Or, that's what they're trying to imply anyways.
Well, yeah, well, she's trying to imply a lot. She tried to imply you needed a search warrant to search that DNA on that sheath. And as the judge pointed out, he doesn't claim to own that sheath. So why does he have to need a warrant to get that sheath tested for DNA? To extract DNA from it. There should have been a warrant for that. What?
Yeah.
It's not yours, so you don't have that claim. And even if you did say, okay, it's mine, do you still have that claim? No. See?
Yeah, truth. I always wondered that. Like, could he have left his phone somewhere?
Oh yeah, I have speculated that from the beginning because
Yeah.
everybody's like, this guy, he's smart and all these. Yes, he is all those things. So why take the damn phone? Like, I'm like, it would have been so easy to leave it on the nightstand by the bed. I couldn't sleep, got up, got ready, went out for my late night drive, stargazing and such. And I realized 20 minutes later, because you're going toward the countryside, 20 minutes later, I realized I forgot my phone, but I was too late. I wasn't going back to get it. Simple, problem solved. But he didn't do that. He took it. Why? Did he go leave it somewhere, right? Turned off so it could appear to be offline?
Maybe he was trying to make it look like he was going in the westward direction, and then it disconnects from the network. So it looks like he just went out of the service area.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, too, about this phone and where the phone was and all that, right? If this guy was legitimately driving around in on these backcountry roads, right? He legitimately lost cell service or whatever. The thing that people keep forgetting about is the phone has GPS. So if the phone is sitting there in his cradle, like his phone holder, or over on his passenger seat, even if it lost signal, like a connection to the network towers, the GPS in the phone is connected to satellites.
Yeah.
So the GPS would say where this phone is. If he's legitimately out driving, minding his business, doing whatever he does in the middle of the night or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and hasn't done anything to block this phone. Like, i.e., a Faraday bag or homemade Faraday, casing or whatever.
Homemade.
So, yeah, because I read some articles online about
Yeah.
foil and some other mess or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
So, but yeah, if you're driving around in your car and your phone is just like on your seat or in the cradle or whatever, even if you didn't have cell service to a tower, the GPS in the phone is still connecting.
Yeah. And I think I was looking at some of the comments.
Oh, I see Miss Potts
Could have
says the
died.
state wants the phone data out. Here's the thing. I can't wait until these documents drop because I noticed that anything for the state, it seems like, has states in parentheses. The AT&T timing advance record one does not have states in parentheses. So I'm actually wondering, is this actually the defense that doesn't want those in?
Because remember, they did want those suppressed, and they could. Yeah, because they wanted those suppressed and couldn't get them suppressed, right? The judge denied the suppression, and so yeah, they have to try it. And he even alluded to that during the hearing, that those were actually motions in limine, right, and not what they were there trying to get done that day, and so. Or for suppression hearings, it was more of a limine thing. So now here we are. So I believe Dolphin, because Dolphin and I examined that pretty closely, the case summary log, to try to, decide which ones were which, because they're both filing motions in limine, the state and the defense. Yeah, the defense wanted everything gone, and the only way to get that all gone was to get rid of the IGG, fruit of the poisonous tree. Anything you got after that IGG name, you cannot use now. And that's like, well, that's all the evidence. So yeah, no, that didn't. But I was looking. Let's see. Because they haven't updated the case page yet. There's nothing. None of the new stuff is out yet. But I was looking.
Right. And what do you call it? I'm on page 72 of the case summary. And actually starting at the bottom of 71, it's like above that, you see things that say entries that say states in parentheses. Then towards the bottom of 71, it's like number 1, regarding inflammatory evidence. Number 2, vague and undisclosed expert testimony. It goes on to numbering in 13. Like, so, and I remember joking, oh, remember they had 13 things that they wanted to try and throw out? And I was
Yeah.
like, 13 reasons why. I kind of made a
Yeah.
little joke about that. That's why I think all of these things that don't say states, anywhere, are actually the defense.
Yes, Annie, you're right. I know who Tom Slavinsky is. I went and researched him the minute I heard the
Mm-hmm.
name. So I've done a deep dive on who he is, and we don't really know what he testified to, right? We he testified about the data and the advanced reports, but yeah, it, he works for and Slavinsky is the defense witness, one of the defense witnesses. So I read the document. I saw what was in there. Not a phone inside Hyundai key fob security pouch. You can put a Faraday bag, like Dolphin mentioned. These Faraday bags could have been right there the whole time in the car with him, on the seat, or in a Faraday bag. Thinking, we learned in Delphi even when they took Libby's phone, in order to preserve that phone, which was not done accurately, it should have went into a Faraday bag immediately.
You know what? So yeah, I just looked at Jack's comment. So not if the phone is inside this key fob security pouch and conspicuous no signal. But again, you're giving an explanation for why, they wouldn't have certain data or whatever. But again, it's like you give this explanation, but you ignore the fact that this guy was just supposedly up late at night, like he always is, couldn't sleep or whatever, decided to go out and drive and all that. So, I mean, is that also part of his ritual to hide his phone away into some sort of bag or container that his phone wouldn't, connect to the network? Because I don't know about you, but when I grab my keys in my purse to leave the house in the middle of the night, I'm not like, oh, gee, let me see what I can put my phone in so it doesn't connect to
Right.
anything.
Exactly.
It's like, so while you guys are like, I mean, I appreciate the feedback and everything, but it's like, yes, you're given an explanation for something, but it's like, but you got to remember, this is what they're trying to sell. That, hey, this is his alibi. He was out driving. He was minding his own business. He was way over here at the west in this park or whatever,
Yeah,
or, and not over here in the east murdering these kids. So
and
if
Miss
you're,
right.
innocent, then you wouldn't be doing these extra things to hide things or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
And Miss Potts, you got to remember too that the state will also provide their experts as well, which we know one will be Nick Balance. And so, is Syra, and Tom here works for Syra's, that company that Syra started, the ZX, whatever it's called now. Yeah, ZX. So it's going to be, expert witness against expert witness. There's no eyewitness. We have one witness to this crime, and she didn't witness the crimes. She witnessed a figure walking toward her with some bushy eyebrows. That's only witness to this crime. So all these witnesses are all going to be expert witnesses. Car data guys, car identification guys, phone data guys, drive time guys, all that. That's who Cy and Slavinsky are. That's what their deal is. Becca Barlow, she's been on the case for over a year, now officially an attorney on the case, but she's, did a declaration and has been right there working with Ann the whole time on her part with the DNA stuff. So I guess they're putting together a good team. We'll just have to see which experts bring it at trial. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to me. Which experts bring it the best at trial? Because they got to make me believe. One or the other has to make me believe, right? So they're going to, Nick Balance is going to say he went that way, and Cy's going to say, no, he went that way. Because Cy's got respect for Nick. They're friends. Yeah. Yeah, they know each other. And he didn't, and he even said that in court when he was testifying. that he didn't believe that Nick Balance's work was wrong, but it was like more or less Maury's interpretation of the work was wrong, and entered into the system inaccurately. That kind of thing, I think, was the angle they're going to go at, because they are leaning in heavily to how much training Maury would have had and who did what for you, and he said that Nick Balance did do most of that work, if not all of it, and then turned everything over to Maury. And so, now Maury's just not understanding what he was looking at. Yeah, every single word does matter in the court hearings. I listened to every single word said. You know, um, when Anne says things, I give her complete grace to get me backed up in a court document, and I wait and see. Sometimes she does, and sometimes she doesn't. You know, so I always base it back off the court documents. There's not a lot left to present today, really. We did this to bring some of that Faro scanning technique out, and I hope you guys that were here for all of that enjoyed it, and gave you better insight as to what that Faro scanning can and cannot do. So I did want to just bring that out. I thought it was a cool thing to do. What about you guys? Did y'all like what was presented?
Oh yeah, I actually was thinking about something I just saw in chat though.
What's that?
What was it about? Something about the phone not moving. That was
Not being in
Backwood
Moscow?
Beats. No, not the not being in Moscow. The Backwood Beats said Ann Taylor, without losing her mind already, said they can track if the phone's moving, chilling, or doing the Macarena in the cup holder. They know, and it wasn't, in all caps, right? On the last part. So I actually started thinking about the whole moving, if the phone was moving situation. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're looking at that physical device, I'm just kind of thinking, could he have left that physical device out in that park, right? Knowing that it wouldn't have been, connecting to the network, blah, 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 whatever. It wouldn't have been moving because
That's what
he's going
I'm
to leave
inclined to
it
believe.
there. But I'm also, like I said, what I was talking about with, removing your SIM card or having an eSIM or, what was it, Firefly? I mentioned to you the other night about cloning a device, you know? Um, so basically, it's like, could he have, because this is a tech guy, right? Could he have physically left that device out of that park? It's not moving, it's not reporting to a network, problem
Right.
solved, right? And you have the same number in a different device, okay, that you've turned off of the network. Everything happens. Then when you're leaving, and coming south out of Moscow, when you turn that device back on. Now, my next question would be when he turned it back on and he logged into that burner email at what was it 4:49 a.m.
Yep.
used a VPN and all that. That phone number, that occurrence of the 8458. Now I would want to know, is that actually in that same IMEI device?
Right. And she's speaking about something we just learned in the latest court documents, people. He absolutely did log on to, what was it, iPad? He's autistic. Nighttime drives are just versions of self-care. Doesn't make him a killer. You're right.
Oh yeah, nobody's saying, oh, because you're out driving at night, that means you're
Yeah.
up to no good or whatever.
And
That's not my point.
Yeah, but he logged into a VPN right when his phone turned back onto the network. He
It
logged
reported
into a
back to the
VPN.
network. He logged into a VPN and or it auto logged or whatever, and then he signed into this burner email at
Yeah,
4:49 on the
that's
side of
just
the
a
road.
hell of a coincidence. I'm sorry.
yeah, but I understand, I
That's
don't know.
not just a joyride.
Well, I'm not autistic, so I don't know that would, if that could be his version of self-care. I get it. I like driving by myself, and I
I
live a
do too.
good, yeah, I do. I get, my peace comes over me. I can think, do all the things. We're not saying he's the guy. We're just evaluating what we know based out of court documents from both sides, and Taylor's and the prosecution and defense. That's what we're doing. We're having conversations about it. And if it looks like we're saying, oh, he's the guy, we're not saying that. And I try to say suspect vehicle one and the perpetrator. I try not to name him. So, yeah, just being respectful and trying not to do all that, sensationalizing.
Yeah, and I just like to think outside of the box. It's
Yeah,
like
we
if
do
somebody tells me,
exactly.
"Oh, I don't see how this could be done," then I'm like,
Yeah, like
there's got to
even
be a
my
way.
look, even my thumbnails are not sensational. I put a picture up, but I don't make it like the biggest thing on the thumbnail. People are using AI right now to recreate Koberger and throw on their thumbnails. I'm not doing all that. I'm just going to take a real picture of whatever I need, and it's going up there. If it gets your attention, it gets your attention. If it don't, it don't. I can't. I'm not going to do that. Um, yeah, I don't do that. But we will talk about things over here. That's what we do. The autism explains routine. You don't have to have autism to have a routine like that. I don't have autism, but I have routines, right? Um, yeah, they do love a good habit, but so do a lot of people. We're not. Yeah, we'll see
Yeah.
what we'll see what all it is. We'll see what all the defense presents for his autism. When was he diagnosed? Has he always been treated for it? What actually part will it play here? Probably during mitigation to try to remove the death penalty because of an existing mental health condition, autism. Other than that, it's not going to play a part because he was high functioning autism apparently. He was able to be a PhD student and hold down and be granted a teacher assistant job. Graduated DeSales, graduated the Northampton Community College. Is that what it was called? Yeah. Did all these things. So he was obviously very high functioning. Nowhere close to being like nonverbal or nothing like that.
I think it's funny that Tinsel is laughing about the mention of cloning tech now or whatever. I'm like, I didn't just think of that.
Yeah.
And if you think, I mean, I don't know how many spam calls you get and whatnot, and I don't know if you've listened to the news about people stealing people's bank information and doing all kinds of other things, stealing people's phones, like gaining access to people's cell phones so that when they are like, oh, trying to log into something, oh, send me this verification code or whatever. While it's getting sent to your phone, it's getting sent to somebody else's phone. So I don't know if you're up on current events, but yeah, I didn't just pull that out of the hat. It's like something that's very real, has been for a long time. So, I mean, laugh all you want, but I'm just throwing out possibilities.
You go, girl. I mean, yeah, open discussion here. Um, I expect when I hold a live discussing Brian Koberger for people to come in and challenge what we say, and it's okay. But you got to be respectful. And if you don't agree with the opinions being presented, you don't have to be here. That's the bottom line. There's really no point, is there? So anyway, nothing new on the case docket site yet.
No, darn it! If we're so it's so frustrating that nothing's showing up.
Damn
But
it,
hey,
man.
can we say to truth exposed? We know that there's no insanity plea in
Yes, we
Idaho,
are
but it
very
can
well
be
aware of
used
that.
when it comes to mitigation as far as the sentencing phase. So that's what it's all
Yes,
about, really.
sentencing phase is mitigation. So
Mhm.
when you are in the mitigation phase before sentencing, that's when you discuss all these things, right? The mental deficits, any existing mental health issues will all come into play because that could absolutely take away the death penalty, right? They can be presented to the judge at sentencing to take into consideration, and then they'll make the decision because they can't put you. I don't think Idaho allows you to put somebody on death row with mental health issues, from what I can understand. So,
Truth said they weren't talking to us. Okay.
what?
I guess it was directed towards chat.
We always get confused with you, girl. Oh, are you a girl? I hope so. I don't want to offend you. Let me know. Let me know what you are, man. Let me know what you are.
I think I have something bookmarked about, how Idaho feels about, these issues, in mitigation. Because there was something I saw.
That would be an
It
interesting
was
read.
months ago. There is some sort of documentation out there.
The
Not about, and I know, yeah, insanity, no, not in Idaho, but in the mitigation, it was like something about people with, oh gosh,
excuse me.
how do they
Um,
term it?
Backwoods. He said you're saying at this
I
point the
can't,
defense could
yeah.
roll in with a literal truth on a neon sign, and they would still get inadmissible. They've had a lot of things, given to them that they've asked for until these motions to suppress in a Frank's hearing. She, by law, failed to prove her case. So the judge has to go by the case law that's already existing. Um, and, Ann Taylor was the first attorney to get all the IGG information that she actually got. It took her two requests and two FBI subpoenas to get that information, and she got it. And so there's a lot of things Anne has been given, but Anne wanted to play ball and wanted to go ahead and move this trial and got what she wished for, and now she got Judge Hippler. So, and he's handled high profile cases. He's so far out of what I've seen of him, I believe he's fair. But everybody's going to have a different opinion, and we just have to respect it. That's all. Um, but anyway, yeah. So you had something to present, Dolphin, or are we?
Oh,
Are we
I couldn't
that's
remember
okay.
exactly. I will go look
Well,
for it, and
yeah,
I guess I'll keep on
yeah.
reaching, as Tinsel says. Yeah,
What?
Tinsel
What?
said to Backwoods that the reaching goes on, but they think we are the ones reaching. So,
No,
yeah,
Tinsel. I mean, I don't think.
Tinsel's coming in hot to chat. Like,
Yeah, girl, slow your roll,
yeah,
baby. Hold on a minute now.
We're very open-minded, actually. Like
yeah.
we aren't like 100% like that he's guilty, leaning that way maybe, but I
Um,
But
still want to see all the evidence. Give me all
right,
the
and
evidence.
here's the thing, and I've said this to Salty and Firefly. Here's the thing: if you have a differing opinion or view, like, then tell me about it. But then when I ask you questions, then you stop. Then that's kind of where I have a problem, because I'm like, if you have a view, back it up. Give me an example. Tell me how you think that works. You know, that's called discussion. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah, we have open discussions here, and
I'm open minded.
if I read a question in the chat, it's because, like, now answer me back or talk to me or whatever, um, and I might have a different opinion than what you're saying, and I'm just talking to the community. I believe in the community engagement. You're not just here to hear the three of us talk. You also have opinions, right? So if I'm addressing a comment, you were addressing a previous backwoods comment. Well, okay, well, are we misunderstanding you? Anyway,
I think that's what they're saying. Yeah.
okay. Well, maybe we are. I'm not going to scroll back up and try to figure it out, because like it'd be take me a minute to do all that. So okay. Well, thanks for everybody who did come in, and thanks for being respectful, because we do appreciate it when you are, and we do appreciate other opinions, but. We have questions always. So if you say something, I may have a question on what you're saying, and you're welcome to have a question on us as well. But we try to base what we're talking about out of the documents, and then we may speculate about that, right? So yeah, we're talking about facts that we, like I said, looking through the
I was
facts.
going to say, what
And
rumors have we talked about today?
yeah, Donnie's agreeing. Open discussion on facts, not on rumors.
Oh, okay.
Are you agreeing with us, Donnie, or are you saying that's what we did? Because we're not basing anything on a rumor mill. We don't play in the YouTube streets. I don't. They don't. Um, no, we base it on what we read out of these documents, and then we have a conversation around that, and we speculate about it. And that's what we should be doing in true crime. That's what we do here, and see where it takes us. We may have different opinions even on panels sometimes, and that's okay. But yeah, I'm a question person. So if I read your comment, it's just like like not questioning you, but let's debate it. Let's roll. Let's see what we do here. Um, Anyway, with that said, I'm going to wrap it up for today, guys. Thanks for coming in, hanging out with us, and going over the Faro stuff. I hope that a lot of you that were watching got some good takeaways from that, because I know we did, right?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, too, we probably do need to try and find the information about what Idaho, will and won't take, like for
Let me do that.
capital cases
Let's get that
mitigation.
together. Yeah, I'll do that. Let's get that together for our next show, and we'll present that side of it as well. Because this trial is going to be coming up, and we've been so deep in this case for 2.5 years. We're not new to it, by the way. Let me just say that. We may not have been streaming for about 8 months here, I think, but we've been deep diving this case for 2.5 years solid, the three of us. So we do know a lot about the case. We have our opinions, and that's why we, like seeing what you guys think. And we're going to share that stuff as we go along, so we'll work on that. We'll get that together and present it, because I want to present different things about the case before it goes to trial, because I do plan to cover this trial live. It'll be the first time that I do cover one. So still trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. I may do a poll, but I'm thinking about starting it a little bit late. That way we can fast forward through the breaks and things like that. We can stop and have commentary. It may make it more interesting, because I don't want to stop a live court feed and say, what? I don't want to do that. So I'm thinking on how to do that. So anyway, great. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Forrest. Thank you for everybody being here. And please, if you don't mind, if you liked the show, please hit the like button. If you didn't, sorry, but thanks for being here anyway and giving us a view. So with that said, we'll wrap it up, and we'll work on getting some material together for our next show. Again, Firefly and Dolphin, thank you as always for coming up and being my co-host on this.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
What is this? Somebody wants to send an email?
Truth Exposed said they have the link, and they'll send it.
Okay, send it over. I'll look it up as well. I've got their thing pinned. I can go I think it's on my phone. Anyway, send it over, but we're gonna look it up. It's easy to look up and verify. Anyway, so thanks a lot for being here, guys. And with that said, we're gonna go, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you all for watching this here video.